It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, March 14th, or Pi Day for all you weird math people. I just know there's one high school math teacher named Joe Stevens down south right now who's having a great day. If I remember Joe Stevens, he's like, I tell you what, I wait every year for it. I'm all excited.
It's like Christmas morning for him.
It really is. It really is. This is the guy who spent a whole afternoon lecture talking about how algebra is going to be something you can use in real life, and he explained how he used algebra to help his neighbor add a garage onto the side of his house. And we were all like, wow, you've peaked, dude.
Yeah, right? And then some kid raises his hand and goes, I like apple pie, and then just deflates
pretty
him.
much.
Yeah.
First time I ever felt sorry for a teacher, ever. Was like, oh, man, that's it? That's your day? That's what all this has got you? You helped out with a garage? And it wasn't even like a TR7 cool angled garage like back in the day?
Right.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
Remember, we did spend a fair amount of time on that whole 3.14 thing in school.
Sure.
And I remember Mrs. Baruth there in Wolsey, South Dakota, saying, you're going to use this someday. Well, Mrs. Baruth, wherever you are, I've still not used 3.14 for a damn thing in my life.
Oh, hell
no.
It's a circumference. I mean, I know how to spell circumference. That's all I can give you. And I probably can't do it unless I'm writing it. I don't think I can just say it out loud.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, but maybe we'll get back into some Pi Day activities. We're not really sure. But what's got our attention today is the oncoming cicada invasion. The United States is about to be overrun with the loudest bugs you've ever heard, if you've ever heard them. Now, apparently cicadas aren't really much of a problem here in Minnesota. They do exist.
Yeah,
but they don't come out in the massive numbers. I guess is that what I'm led to believe?
I didn't really know what you guys were talking about this morning, but then I Googled it, and apparently they're cultural icons.
They're heroes.
Yeah, they've been around.
We do have them
forever.
here. Oh, yeah, I've heard them before, and you know it. One cicada can make quite a bit of racket.
100 dB. Literally, I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
A single cicada has been has measured 100 decibels, and if a few million of them pop out, let me tell you, I've been there. Loud as hell.
Yeah, apparently cicada wings, if you've ever caught one, grabbed one or something like that, found a dead one, their wings, they're almost hard to snap even with the human hand. There they go. But imagine that. We wouldn't even be able to hear each other screaming at each other. I was only around for one big cicada brood. I think it was back in the 1980s in Pennsylvania, back for a visit for the summer to see some Zeps. And I remember everybody just freaking out about it and being awfully excited. And then it happened, and we were all, where they put 15 kids in one bedroom and everybody lays on the floor with sleeping bags. Yeah. And we just sat there and listened to I pretended like it was an alien invasion. I thought it was really cool. But
it's what they look like, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Big googly eyes and huge wings, red or green eyes. 1985, Nashville, Tennessee had a giant cicada brood. And for a few days in the middle of it, they were so it was horror film biblical levels. Cicadas, not to be confused with locusts, but that's what everyone said. It's like a plague of locusts, but cicadas, to their credit, don't do anything. They don't hurt you.
No.
They don't bite. They don't sting. They don't spit. They don't do anything.
They don't eat up our trees and vegetables and fruits and
they
stuff.
hang out on trees, but basically they just show up every either 13 or 17 years, and then they mate, and then they go back underground again for 13 or 17 years, depending on what kind of cicada it is. But they're loud as hell. And the one time I've had two experiences with cicadas, both in Nashville. About 15 years ago, there was a big brood with the kids. It was fun. They were like, holy crap. But this was just like, you'd see them on every third tree, there'd be a bunch on the tree making noise. But go back 40 years, 1985, they were like, if you got out of your car, 5 of them would land on you in less than 15 seconds. They were everywhere. They were flying around. They were. My girlfriend at the time worked at a daycare, and I went to visit her at work, and the kids in the yard were covered in cicadas, and they thought it was awesome. They're just running around like, these are so fun. Except for the few kids who are, to this day, still traumatized and curled up in a fetal position and are freaking out because people like us are talking about the fact that this is going to happen again.
It's just a fun bug in Minnesota when the girls, I hope someone that works at the Minnesota Children's Museum is driving in this morning because they're going to say, see, what we do matters. But had the kids over there in St. Paul at the Kids Museum and they had a whole cicada thing going on there.
Yeah.
And so we just, kind of walked through it doodly. But I do remember some cicada fun facts. And that is that here's how you tell the difference between a male cicada and a female cicada.
Okay.
And that is if there's one out by themselves. And that often happens here in Minnesota. You find that one just chirping away up in the tree. If you snap your fingers, click your fingers like that, and it's a male, it will often come to you. That's some sort of mating thing. I don't know what you do when it gets there. You have to mate with it. Thank you. There's more. Thank you, Tony.
I tried that at a bar, and no girl would even look up.
No, boy, you click your fingers at a woman, and you're likely
it's a whole different thing.
Get a boot to the crotch. The other thing that not anymore, I guess, it's not as big a deal, but in the South, back in the day, in the early 20th century and 19th century, they called them Southern shrimp. They like to eat them.
Yeah, they're nutritious. I've been learning all sorts of things by reading about them this morning. They're nutritious. They add nutrients to the soil. They can aerate lawns and improve water filtration.
Do they eat lots of other bugs? I mean, what's their service
No, they are
factor?
eaten. No. Like birds eat them. That's why they exist.
Yeah, they're just. This is a big mating thing. They come out, 17 years, and the broods. This is brood 13 and 14. Apparently, it's two different broods. The double barrel brood coming.
Yeah, there's going to be some overlap of the two broods only in Illinois. So if you are in that part of Illinois, you're going to have. By the way, over 1 trillion cicadas will come out. 1 trillion
That's crazy.
will emerge this year in North America. And if you live in Illinois, you're going to have. They're saying it'll be several million per acre. So,
several million, yeah.
So just picture your friend's bigger yard, what 1 acre looks like in your head. And in that 1 acre, there will be several million cicadas.
It'd be a cicada NATO.
Yeah.
Dude, let's go.
Yeah, well, southern Wisconsin is going to get one of the broods. I believe brood 13 is going to invade southern Wisconsin. The other thing, Steve, I don't know if you know this or not, but snake populations tend to boom, especially in the southeast, after these big cicada broods because when they die and they come down to ground, apparently snakes feast like crazy on these bad boys and just start producing like mad. So snake
when are
boom
we gonna,
coming.
as a nation, when are we going to stop kidding ourselves and just give every household a family of mongoose? Keep those damn snakes at bay.
Yeah. Mongoose. I mean, if you're going to... I know someone that has a ferret, which bothers the hell out of me. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. They got rid of the ferret when they had a child because they were worried about the ferret crawling into the crib and biting the child. And I remember it was a big deal when we had the conversation, or when they were having the conversation, we were over for dinner, and they're like, well, we should. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
Get
they're
rid
nippy.
of the freaking ferret.
They traded one nasty-smelling animal for another.
Yeah, they sure did. All right, we'll drive on. In addition to National Pie Day, we might talk about pies. Candace's ranch, she has ranch. I have potato chips. I was just trying to remember this morning. It's National Potato Chip Day. The last day. When was the last day I didn't have a potato chip? I think I'd have to go back to being hospitalized or something like that. Maybe a major surgery that I had, because on the way to my studio this morning, past the bags of Lay's. What's their baked potato chip? Those crisp ones. Yeah, had a handful of those on the way into the studio this morning. We got all sorts of things to talk about this morning. Pie, potato chips. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Pink Floyd's Run Like Hell. theme song for many of the drivers in the Twin Cities lately. I notice it every day. There's always one guy just really got to get somewhere fast, flying around. Last month on 35W at County Road 88 in New Brighton, a state patrolman pulled over a driver going 124 miles per hour.
Wow.
In the middle of the day.
Yeah.
124. Now, that's not quite the Jordan Addison 144 from last year's pre-football camp Lamborghini stint through St. Paul. But 124 on 35W is a pretty stout effort regardless. The State Patrol shared a Facebook post this week where they explained this story and said the man's excuse for why in the world he was driving 124 miles an hour, this is not going to get you a lot of friends. He didn't have to get to the hospital.
Okay.
There was no baby being born. There was no, I need to say goodbye to someone. He didn't have to save his dog. He let his dog out, which is what Jordan Addison said. Got a puppy at home. Got to get back to him. He said, I'm sorry, I'm late for a tax appointment.
Oh, well.
What the hell? Is it that time already? Oh, no, wait. It's the middle of March, not the middle of April.
You're going 124 miles per hour. Was the appointment yesterday? What the hell are you trying to do? Time warp yourself?
I mean, just come up with a better excuse. Or you know what? Just say, you know what? I was just seeing how fast I could go on 35W.
I have to go potty.
What a hoople head. I know. I used to like this is the corner that you turn when you age and get a little more responsible, and maybe you've just been around long enough. But after that hoople head, actually scumbag out in central Minnesota last year killed someone going 110 miles an hour. It's just not cool anymore. All right, the pandemic's over. There are other people out on the road, and and by the way, today's cars, if it's not a Lamborghini owned by a professional football player, they're not made to go that fast. They don't have they don't have the chassis. They don't have the suspension for it. Can very quickly and easily, through no fault of your own, lose control of that vehicle. And the worst thing that can happen is that not only you die, but you take someone with you. So we've seen a lot of that also in Minneapolis. Some real tragedies.
I was talking
super speeding.
I was talking to my daughter last year, and she said the car feels kind of weird. She's got a little Toyota. She goes, the car feels kind of weird. I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, it's just kind of shaky on the highway sometimes. And I went, How fast you going? Well, I mean, I was going almost 80 once. I go, yeah, it's a glorified golf cart, 75 tops.
Of course you did.
And I was like, but I'm glad you figured that out. She goes, wait, that's really why it was? I go, yeah, that car is not designed to go 80 miles an hour. And
it's 14-inch wheels on it as well.
And it's a good thing. So, but you know what? I do understand why someone might feel like, I gotta bust it up. I gotta go $1.25 in this car because I'm driving on literally some of the best roads in America. In fact, the best roads in America. This might come as a surprise to many of our friends listening. Minnesota, in a recent study by Consumer Affairs, has the best roads in the United States.
Shut your mouth.
What?
Most often maintained, maybe.
This report was compiled. They focus on three main factors that they say are indicative of road quality. The number of fatal crashes, road surface roughness, and then each state's investment in road improvements. Minnesota, number 1. Wisconsin, 45th. So suck it, Badgers. Cross that state line, and you feel like you're getting a neck massage coming back into Minnesota. Oh, that's the good stuff. Oh, yeah.
I hopped the bridge over there in Wisconsin, and I immediately put the truck in four-wheel drive. It's like going off road. Yeah, it's crazy over there. I don't know. I will say this, that MnDOT bust their ass and does a hell of a job for the most part keeping the roads. I mean, it's been an easy winter. Last winter was not an easy winter. We all remember that spring rolling around through pothole season, and we have frequent winters like that. So they've got their work cut out for them. But man, oh man, oh man. Ripping around Minnesota. All I can say is anyone in a small vehicle out there, small car, compact car out there driving around, I can't imagine. It must feel like a punch to the kidney each time you take that bad boy out on one of our highways.
Yeah, Minnesota has the second lowest rate, for the record, of fatalities per mile driven, and the third largest span of rural roads in the country. Clearly NASCAR never really took off up here, because let me tell you something, go down south and, every day's a race. Every day's a race day. Here's the quote from Consumer Affairs, and you got to appreciate this. The North Star State beckons with some of the smoothest, safest roads in the country, an especially admirable achievement since Minnesota's cold temperatures, significant snowfall, and proximity to the Great Lakes create a hazardous set of conditions that can be tough on roads and drivers. Now, why is Minnesota so much higher than Wisconsin? They say Wisconsin's poor ranking, Wisconsin's blaming it for a lack of transportation funding. But here's something interesting. Minnesota's budget road improvement for each year, for the year, $4.2 billion. What's Wisconsin spending? $3.9 billion. It's not that much of a difference.
No, and that's a staggering number. I feel like we should be driving on the golden brick roads around here but money being what it is these days. What's $1 billion here or there?
What's $1 billion here or there where potholes are concerned? But I think what they're saying is, okay, so Minnesota has an efficient, hardworking group of guys and gals out there for $4.2 billion, whereas Wisconsin takes $3.9 billion and just gets hammered. Jay, just drinking on the job.
Leaning on the shovels over there, I think.
No, I'm sorry.
Right.
Hang on, it doesn't say that at all. No, my bad. I don't have my glasses on. I literally thought they were saying all the guys in Wisconsin working on the roads are drunk. That's not true. I retract everything I said. Sorry, Wisconsin.
Hit the dump button.
Sorry, WinDOT.
Yeah, the border wars are on, baby.
You know
but we've got Mike Evans' Hollywood Report to get along to. Please hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, March the 14th. Happy Pi Day. Let's go to the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Good morning, Steve and Candace, Zep, Tony. And a reminder, movie reviews tomorrow. And what's the best place to see a movie? It's Marcus Theaters. Marcus Theaters, the best. And remember, Marcus Theaters every Tuesday, $6 specials, any movie at any Marcus Theater. Boy, stay with me on this one. It's a strange one. Yesterday, media was notified that today, pre-production would start for what is being called a huge, huge film called Eddington. But I'm still trying to make sense of this whole thing. It stars Austin Butler, who played Elvis in the Elvis movie. It also stars Oscar winner Emma Stone, coming off that great but very bizarre performance in Poor Things. It also stars Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, he was great in Walk the Line and Gladiator, but I thought he stunk it up in Napoleon. I mean, the whole cast, it sounds very strange, but it gets even more bizarre. All we know about the movie Eddington is that it centers around a small town, New Mexico sheriff, and is a comedy, drama, horror movie. Ugh, I don't get it. When I find out more, I'll let you know. Hey, you know as well as I do, Apple TV gave us a great sports comedy, a sitcom, Ted Lasso. And now they're going to follow it up with a golf sitcom starring Owen Wilson as a retired, confused former golf pro. I've always liked Owen Wilson. Wilson, great surfer, pretty good golfer, lives on Maui. On a serious note, Suri Cruz, now 17, may be moving with her mom, Katie Holmes, from New York City to Los Angeles. And is it true that Suri is considering getting a restraining order against her dad, Tom Cruise, if she moves to L.A. where he lives? Now, I've done a lot of digging. I don't think Tom Cruise has seen his daughter, Suri, for over 13 years. It's very strange. All right, I'm your Hollywood entertainment reporter. And next Wednesday in Seoul, South Korea, Major League Baseball season will begin, playing for keeps, where the Dodgers play the San Diego Padres in a 2-game series. Steve, let's run him down and check our notes and see how we do. I'll be anxious to see if you agree or disagree with my picks for which teams will win their divisions and their closest rivals. American League East, Baltimore, followed by Toronto.
Damn straight.
American League Central, Minnesota Twinkies. The Twins will run away with it, but followed by Cleveland.
Damn straight.
American League West.
Really?
Houston, followed by the world champion Texas Rangers. I think Houston will beat out Texas. It'll be close. National League East, Atlanta, followed by Philadelphia. National League Central, Milwaukee, followed by Cincinnati. And the National League West, it's got to be the Los Angeles Dodgers, followed by Arizona. Tomorrow, like I said, movie reviews tomorrow. Have a great day, Mike Evans, Hollywood. See ya.
Mike Evans, Hollywood Report on the KQ Morning Show. You know what we could do right now? If you guys feel like it, we could all learn something. How about we look back?
Okay, Steve.
It's March 14th. On this day in 1967, just a couple months after the first ever Super Bowl, the AFL and the NFL, still 3 years away from merging, had their first common draft. The first player chosen out of Michigan State, Bubba Smith, to the Baltimore Colts. At that time, early life for me, Baltimore Colts were my life. I had a Bubba Smith T-shirt. I had a Bubba Smith jersey. He was my man. And the first joke I ever got in trouble for telling at an event with adults in the room, my brother taught me this joke and asked me to tell it to some people my parents had over at the house. Here was my joke. Richard Nixon had the Colts over at the White House after they won the Super Bowl in 1971. And in the restroom, he sees Bubba Smith at the urinal, and he's blown away by, well, the size of Bubba's manhood. And Tricky Dick says, "Whoa, Bubba." He goes, I don't know what to say about that. And Bubba says, "It's easy, Mr. President. If you want to have something like this every night, before I get in bed, I just thump the bedpost with it a few times." And the president's like, "That's great, Bubba, thank you." That night, walks into the bedroom, kills the lights, walks over, walks up to the bedpost, thump, thump, thump. And from the darkness, Pat says, "Is that you, Bubba?" I told that joke. I was like 6, and I was ready for I was ready for to be lauded and carried around the room like I'd won the town a race. No,
especially down south, a good man dingo joke.
Well, this was it was technically Maryland, which a lot of people don't realize was kind of more like a border state. So I didn't really get away with much there. On this day in 1980, this is a terrible story that I knew and completely forgot about. The United States Olympic boxing team were all killed in a plane crash in 1980. The U.S. Olympic boxing team, always the pride of Olympic boxing, they were on their way from New York to Poland, and about a mile short of the runway in Warsaw, the plane crashed, killed 22 members of the U.S. boxing team, 14 boxers and 8 trainers. Could have been worse, as 3 boxers weren't on the plane. One guy lost his ticket. One guy couldn't get out of Philly because of the snow to get to New York. The third boxer not to go on the trip was Marvis Frazier, son of Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier did not fly and refused to allow his son to fly. He said, "No way, I'm not letting you do that," just because of his old man's fear of flying. Marvis Frazier said afterwards, "I love flying. My dad's the man of the house, gave me an order not to go. I called my dad when I heard the news, and the first thing he said was, 'I told you those planes will kill you.'" Amazing. I don't think anyone ever argued with Joe Frazier about anything after that again. Guarantee it.
Wow, it'd be tough to argue with Joe Frazier about anything. He had that uppercut.
That's very true. But what an awful thing. They were already pretty much assured they weren't going to the Olympics in Moscow that summer. But a tragic day for U.S. boxing. I mean, U.S. boxing gave the world Ali, or Clay at the time, George Foreman, Sugar Ray Leonard. You think about some of the greats that we probably lost that we never heard of because of that.
Yeah.
Awful.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Black Sabbath, Iron Man. Feel free to put dirt in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah.
Man, if I were in the studio, if I walked in the studio in 1970 and heard that, they go, "What do you think, Steve?" I'd go, "Are you guys okay? Are you trying to work through some angst, some ennui, some post-war British blues? Holy crap!"
I was listening to Tony Iommi talking about that, watching some TikTok video. Can I say that on the air? Recently, and he was talking about the recording of that album, how just blasé it was. You know, we thought it was all right. We sort of ripped through it. And we thought the songs were, particularly good. And I'm like, what? You recorded Iron Man, Paranoid, these songs? And you thought, all right, that's a wrap, chaps. Let's move on to the next one. That blows my mind because that song, in fact, I was going to text Candace something about a guest next week. And I went, oh, my God, Iron Maiden's on. I can't interrupt her head banging Yeah, good stuff.
Tony Iommi. Okay, remove Jimi Hendrix. Is he got to get Hendrix out of there? Is he the greatest left-handed guitarist in rock history?
Oh, well, I'd take that argument.
Also, withdraw Paul McCartney. I think. I mean, not in terms of great, just technical guitarist, but overall musician. But when I think of lefties, see, it's funny because Hendrix is Hendrix. He's on his own planet. Mm-hmm. I don't think of McCartney in any other context. He's Paul McCartney. But when I think left-handed guitarist, the first person I think of is not Hendrix, but it's Tony Iommi.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any fingertips either. So
was that intentional?
He was working in his dad's one of those shops, where the
butcher kind of,
a foundry,
or like a wood shop with the band, so
accounting firm,
the circular, accounting room.
Cut off the fingertips.
Oh, how many are
flat?
Left hand?
Yeah, he has
his right hand. Is that why he plays lefty?
He has on his left hand, but he has these thingies on him now, like these little metal picks, almost.
Okay.
Picks.
All right, let me get this straight. Tony Iommi is from a family of Cockney chimney sweeps. Is that what you just said? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Think about how far society can come in one lifetime.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah, I didn't. Wow,
Dad, I've got my fingertips.
That?
I've got my fingertips stuck over in the chimney, ain't I, Dad? You'll be a rock star, son. Or you won't have black lungs like your old man. Let's just write a play. Tony Iommi and the Chimney Sweeps of Birmingham, and give them Cockney accents, even though they're not from East London. This is going to be great. Thanks, Candace.
Yeah, I love getting things right.
I love getting things right. We went from he's left-handed, right, to now he's a chimney sweep. This is great. We're making progress. I love this. Speaking of guys from England, Zepp, you referenced this a minute ago. Okay, first things first. A gentleman from England driving a Mercedes G-Wagon, or G-Wagon, as they might say in Mercedes country. That's the Mercedes SUV that's been around for a while. It's not like... Well, they're nice now. In the 90s, if you saw a G-Wagon, they weren't like plush. They were just like badass. You'd look at it like, oh, that guy's obviously going to go trekking in the Himalayas in that vehicle. It was one of those kind of vehicles. Kind of boxy, kind of cool. It had the Mercedes thing, so it's probably a good car. But they've always been crazily expensive. A dude in England sitting in a G-Wagon posted a video online justifying the decision he made to park in a handicapped spot. Let's listen to this guy.
You are disabled? To be honest with you, mate, I'm a very quick person and I need to be close to the shop to save time. Time is money. Within the 2 minutes that I'm in the shop, 100 disabled people aren't just going to turn up. That's why I'm parking in the disabled bay.
I'm a quick person. Time is money. I would not think twice about flattening one of his tires in that 2 minutes. And then let's see how quick you are now, douchebag.
Yeah, and this is someone that confronted him, and they're recording, and they walk up to this $150,000 SUV, and there he is explaining to why, he's justified in doing this. Wouldn't you just stand there and say, okay, and then let him nervously walk in while you continue to stand by his vehicle because he knows that you're going to do something to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, jerk.
I got no problem just letting that is like you said, Zup, like you go, oh, I'm a jerk. I don't even do that. No, of course you don't, because that's that's a Rubicon. You cross over to where you're just going to park your car in a handicapped spot, even if it's just for a minute or two. No, there's absolutely zero justification that I will accept. And I had an experience in the 80s. I spent a lot of time as a babysitter for a kid with cerebral palsy, my buddy Wade, and I do have a little firsthand knowledge of that, and I spent a summer working at a camp for kids with physical handicaps. Camp Happy Days, awesome time. And boy, when you just spend a couple minutes with somebody who needs that space, and you see someone parking in it, it'll set you off.
Yeah.
And of course, I think I told this story once. I took Wade to a basketball game at Western Kentucky University. So I'm driving the family van, which has his chair. It's got the lift. It's the whole thing. And I get to the arena in what I thought was enough time to get there to find a good parking space, but it was already full. And I'm driving around the arena bitching about there's no parking spaces. And the whole time, Wade's just laughing. And I'm like, it's not funny, dude. This is bull. I'm going, and I do another lap, and I'm like, no one's going to leave. Why is the parking lot so full so early? It's not even a conference game. And the more I'm bitching out loud, he's laughing harder and harder and harder. And I finally go, what is so funny? And he goes, I'm handicapped, you idiot. And I'm like, oh my God, you are. Like, it just didn't even occur to me I could go right up front. But no, I see somebody, especially in a G-Wagon, saying, no, I'm quick.
Right.
These places aren't going to be filled. No, man, give me a buck knife, and that dude's got a flat tire.
Yeah, I did not flatten the tire, but at Target, right here in the good old metro area last summer, saw a guy not only parked in a handicapped parking spot in his Audi, but he was diagonal, taking up 2 spots, like as if a handicapped person was going to pull into the spot and nick his Audi. And as I was walking past it, I thought, see, I'm not as eloquent as you. I thought, okay, flattening the tire, that would have been a good one. You know, you could just pop off the tire cap and just do it the old-fashioned way if you'd like. But I thought about kicking in his grill. But I was wearing dress shoes. That was the day I walked into the revolving door.
That to me, the one thing to do there, if you don't want to damage that guy's car, is you just park right alongside him and you put your passenger door right 1 inch from his driver's door.
I've got a nice truck, though. I'm afraid he's going to scuff my truck.
Well, you know that you don't want that to happen. I walked into it.
I would be in a handicapped spot too.
Well, yeah, but you'd be proving a point.
Yes, right.
Hang on, let's go to the judges on this. I was proving a point. This isn't a handicap spot thing, but I remember like it was yesterday, early 1990. Me and the Robinson, my singer in my band at the time, we walked out of a record store called the Wuxtree in Atlanta, a used record store. Not the one I worked at, our arch rival, but hey, what are you going to do? Got to see what they had. And we walked out in the parking lot, and it was the first time I ever saw a Hummer.
Oh, yeah.
Like those were, Arnold Schwarzenegger's got a Hummer in the Hollywood Hills. Well, some guy in Atlanta had one, and we were like, "Oh my God, there's one of those Humvees or whatever they call." The first model was wider than most city streets. It was huge, and we walked up to it, and it was sprawling well over 2 full parking spaces. It was straddling like 2 parking spaces, so it was touching on parts of 3 whole spaces. And as we approached it, the vehicle, literally, his voice goes, "You are too close to this vehicle. Step away."
All right.
And if you ever knew 2 guys who all that was an invitation to stand even closer.
Yeah.
And we walked right up, and we're looking in the windows, and it says, "If you do not step away, an alarm will serve, 10 seconds till an alarm." And we're like, you got to be kidding me. And we just stood there, and it counted down, and then this thing just went, beep, beep, beep. And this complete, of course, little turtle shell douchebag guy comes running out like, "Get away from my car!" And he looked at us, and he was the kind of guy that would buy a Hummer back then, which is to say, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but a guy who fantasizes about being Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
And we just looked at him. I've never felt better about just looking down my nose at anyone in my life.
That's great. That's my Humvee, mister.
Yeah, he's going to get inside that thing and drive all over your ego. Arnold started it. I remember the whole Hummer thing. He'd just done one of his military movies, shoot-'em-up movies, and he thought, well, these Hummers are cool, and had a company make one for him. And then once Arnold had one, they saw the marketing opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know who you won't see driving those? Anyone who ever spent any time in the military. There's not a more impractical vehicle for the roads. I jumped in one time. They were having one of these where they all follow each other down the road, Hummer club deals. They do it with the vets every once in a while, too. I'm talking about the Corvettes.
Sure.
But you can't see a damn thing, which is probably good, I guess. But, I mean, yeah, it's not made. Now, maybe they've changed them over the years and modified them a little bit, but those early ones were a little too close to the actual Humvee. Mm-hmm. You couldn't wait to get out of a Humvee and into a vehicle with big windows and little...
The funny thing, I remember looking at that very first one and thinking, if you're driving and if you're in the driver's seat and the person in the passenger seat, like I'm 6'3", and I was like, if another person my height was sitting there, we might be able to high five. Maybe.
Yeah.
There was that much space between the seats. It was the stupidest looking thing I'd ever seen.
And they got like 2 miles per gallon.
2 miles
maybe.
per gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a suspension that if you were on the worst road in Wisconsin, might come in handy. If you actually went off-road, it might come in handy. But driving around on the streets, you hit a pebble and it feels like, someone kicked you in the ass.
I love the idea. The guy who had that Humvee, too, I just love that he was in there, like, I'm sure discussing, like, the Cocteau Twins discography at the time, too.
Well, hang on. I've already got the
There's
Japanese
a reference.
I've got the Japanese import, but what do you mean there's one just for Finland? Hold on. Oh, my God, my alarm's going off. Look out.
World War III hits. The Reds invade Minnesota, and guess who's ready and prepared? The guy in his Humvee.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting all shot up in our domestic vehicles. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about now.
real quick, I do have one funny. So the Mercedes G-Wagon, which is the precursor or just a nicer version, in the 90s, they were totally looked upon as that same kind of thing. Like, who's driving that? Like, what's going on there? Well, oddly enough, I had a friend who had one, and he was the most unlikely guy. He was not a snooty dude at all. He was a producer for MTV, which sounds like an extravagant gig, and it was a good gig, but he's just a guy who got out of school as a TV production guy and happened to be hired when MTV first launched. And so he had this amazing career. We're still great friends to this day. But he left MTV in like 1996 after like 16 years of nonstop work, like it was just frenetic pace. And then he had a little time off and he found a used G-Wagon for a great price, like in New Jersey. He's like, man, I'm buying this thing and I'm going to drive it to LA. I'm going to take, for the first time in his life, he's like, all right, I got a few months before I got to find a new job. I'm going to take a road trip in a G-Wagon. It'll be cool. And I said, man, that sounds cool. You should do it. He drives through Atlanta. We hang out. And then he goes, yeah, I'm going to go up to Nashville. And then I'm going to go over to Memphis. And then I'm going to go over to whatever. And I said, well, I'll hitch a ride to Nashville with you because I can see some friends. And then I'll just rent a car and drive up and see my mom. It's like a whole thing. So I have this spur of the trip. We drive in this G-Wagon from Atlanta to Nashville, like 3.5 hour drive. And I'm like, man, this car's pretty sweet. But it was sparse. It wasn't like a Range Rover, which is real deluxe. It was a pretty Spartan car. We get to Nashville, and we go to meet a buddy of mine who's a drummer at the time for the band Wilco from Nashville. And we're going to eat at this little diner. It's an old soda shop like from the 50s that still exists.
Yum.
And we park out front, and then we go in and sit down. And then Ken Coomer is his name. He comes and joins us. I said, Ken, this is my friend Brian. He goes, Brian, Ken, hey, good to meet you. Good to meet you. And I said, so what's going on, man? He goes, man, Nashville, this is in 1996. And he goes, Nashville's really changing. Like it's starting to kind of lose a lot of its, natural soul. Of course, you can't imagine how crazy it is now. But back then, I said, what's going on? He goes, well, there's like all these... You just got a lot of people from L.A. and New York starting to move here, coming for a cheaper town. So the music scene's changing pretty rapidly. And I go, yeah, sure. And he goes, I mean, right outside now, there's some douchebag in a G-Wagon with New York plates. I mean, I'm like, well, I walked in here going, oh, God, I can only wait to see who this is.
Oh, that's funny.
And my friend Brian and I, neither one of us said a word. And Ken goes, you're the douchebag, aren't you? And Brian goes, I sure am. He goes, I'm really sorry, man. I'm like, no, it's fine. But it was just that I just always loved that. Right now, there's some douchebag with New York plates and his G-Wagon. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good one.
Well, as we sit here and talk about these, and it starts with the G-Wagon story, then we start talking about Hummers, I'm thinking about my buddy Dale, right here in Minnesota, that's driving around in a Hummer these days. Dale, I love you, buddy. You know that. But you're going to get some grief for driving one of those things every once in a while. I don't think he cares, though, however. You know what happened today? I just showed up to work to hang out and talk with my friends and have a good time. And then I opened up an email from Tony Lee, and I stood up and I whooped really loud because frickin' Buddy Guy is coming to the Ledge Amphitheater on June 7th.
Yeah, cool.
I will sit here and argue with you all day long that Buddy Guy is the greatest American guitarist of all time. Blues don't lie, baby. Buddy Guy, my favorite kind of blues, Chicago blues, coming to the Ledge Amphitheater, and we'll be giving away tickets to that show. And if that wasn't cool enough, our runner-up today gets Blackberry Smoke tickets tomorrow night at the Medina, but that's not happening till 8. I realize some people are probably reaching for their phones right now because I got a little overstimulated there, knowing where I'm going to be on June 7th. It's National Potato Chip Day, so I'm pretty jacked today. I eat potato chips every damn day of my life. Don't roll your eyes.
I got a problem. I got a
problem
because I can't stop eating potato chips. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, we got some crazy potato chip facts coming. I know what you're thinking. What? Yeah, wait until you hear this stuff. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Hurt So Good by Buddy Guy, right? No, I'm sorry, not Buddy Guy. John Mellencamp.
I bet he'd really spice it up, though.
Oh, he'd play the hell out of that, Buddy Guy would. That was not John Mellencamp. That was actually John Cougar when that song came out.
That's right, yeah.
He was still a record or two away from John Cougar Mellencamp and then a record or two away from just being John Mellencamp. It's kind of like The Cult. You know, the band The Cult. Fire! You know, The Cult, Electric. They started out, they were the Southern Death Cult. That was their original name.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they were just the Death Cult. And then, I mean, they put out music as Southern Death Cult and then Death Cult. And then one day they were like, let's just be the Cult. And yeah, good decision, guys. Way better.
Jefferson Airplane went through about 5 of them, didn't they? Jefferson Starship, Airplane, whatever. I think they went through a few different names.
I think they
Dune
went
Buggy.
They went
Dune Buggy.
Has there never been a band called Dune Buggy?
Uh-oh.
What about Dude Buggy?
Cool.
Dude Buggy's a good name for a band.
I'm Googling it.
Maybe not. Yeah, wow, Dune Buggy, never been used. Yeah, Jefferson Airplane, and then it was Jefferson Starship, and then just the Starship, right? And then
that's when they jumped the shark.
Yeah, then they looked up and went, oh, no one's here. No one's listening. All right.
Dune Buggy.
There is
lots of fantastic hits. You've got Bomber Theme, Moving Cruising, Super Snooper, The Wild Horde, all from the band Dune Buggy.
Please tell me they spell it D-O-O-N.
No, they don't.
Damn it.
No. Dune's really in right now. Dune 2, doing big box office numbers. You got to go with, and by the way, it's not Dune Buggy, it's Dune Buggy Band.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, and they're wearing really clever hats.
It's a special day around here. I'm going to tell you a couple fun facts about a product. Too much of it can raise your blood pressure. It could develop cancer. There are carcinogens in a lot of them. Heart disease, skyrocketing chances of a heart disease. It can increase your risk of stroke. There's a risk of infertility, and it can cause intense weight gain, and it's been linked to depression.
I'm not going to touch it, whatever
God,
it
I
is.
love potato chips.
I knew you were going to.
Everything I just said is true, and I don't care. I cannot stop eating potato chips, and this is a very real thing. I didn't know there was such a thing as Potato Chip Day until this morning. It happens to be today. I am hardly alone. Potato chips are the favorite snack of Americans. 1.85 billion pounds a year are consumed in this country. That's 6 pounds of chips for each person. If you're someone who doesn't eat potato chips, trust me when I say I'm carrying your load.
Shoulder to shoulder. This is me actually eating potato chips while I talk. It's a ventriloquist thing that I can kind of do, but
awesome.
Every day. I mean, there is always, in fact, if there's not a bag of chips in the house, there's a little anxiety. I sat and just stared at a lovely tuna fish sandwich the other day. You know, not something I concocted quickly, but some, the good tuna fish you get at the good grocery store with all the good stuff in there, the onions and the crunchy stuff, all ready to go. No chips. Out of chips.
So what's the point then?
Kind of. I did. I stared for a while. Then I put it in a baggie so it wouldn't get stale. Ziplocked it. Put it in the refrigerator. Went to the grocery store. Got 2 bags of chips. Sometimes halfway through a sandwich, I'll like to just switch up the chip. But yeah, chips every day.
I'm right there with you. I'm a fan of regular chips. I will eat more barbecue chip happily, but I never reach for them myself. A sour cream and onion, a salt and vinegar.
Sure. Kettle cook, baby.
Oh, I'll just give them all. But when there was a jump over the last 20 years, you'd walk into the gas station and there was the bag of chips, the size that you still basically get in a vending machine. But for the most part, now you go into your gas station, that bag of chips is at least twice what it used to be. It's huge. It costs like $1.95 for a bag of chips now. Because it's in between the bag you used to bring home from the grocery store and the individual serving size. It's a much bigger bag. I will knock one of those back between the gas station and my house. I will eat a bag of plain, just Lay's, the yellow bag, plain chips like there is no tomorrow. And this has been going on for years. And by God, I'm just glad we had a forum for me to tell you guys I can't stop eating potato chips.
You're getting a big hug, buddy, a big chip hug. God. I'll tell you. So what I do is when I go in, and of course, I get the big bags because the regular size bags or the individual people, no. And then you have the little vending machine bags for $26. Throw those away. But that medium size, that tweener bag that you were talking about a little bit, that's the bag I will also pick up when I get my 2 really big, huge bags of chips, because I have to eat something on the way home. And I'm also kind of a freak about leaving the chip bag open. Maria will just reach in and grab a chip, and then I'll reach over and close it and put the clip on it. She said I was going to have another one. I said, yeah, you can. You may. Please have another one.
Yes.
Just put the bag back, because you're waiting like 3 minutes between chips. They're going to get stale eventually. But, I need something on the way home to snack on, and I don't want it to be the big bag of chips.
There are, by the way, the first type of flavored potato chip was, in fact, barbecue. That's the first one that hit the market. The most popular potato chip flavor in America is plain, then barbecue, then sour cream and onion.
Yeah, well, and the texture, the chip itself, whether it's kettle cooked or just a good old greasy regular chip, or the new crisp that they've come out with, there's quite a variety. I was born in central Pennsylvania when I was a very small child. Before I even started school, we moved to South Dakota, so I'm a South Dakota kid. But central PA is known for 2 things. Kettle-cooked chips long before they hit your grocery store market. In fact, we used to have them when our relatives came to visit us in South Dakota from Pennsylvania. They were required to bring boxes, and these boxes would have been about the size of a microwave box with just 1 bag of chips in it. And it was from a company called Sticks, who also started the first sourdough pretzels. So large, big sourdough pretzels and kettle-cooked chips. My hand's shaking a little bit. I'm having withdrawals right now. I've been eating those for a lot of years. Yeah.
There is a... I've never known this until today, but of course we come in and we do copious amounts of research from the KQ Morning Show on things like potato chips. Name 6 of the members of the Supreme Court. I'm sorry, no, I'm reading about potato chips. There is a brand of potato chip called the Whole Shebang. Okay, the Whole Shebang, and they are now available outside, by which I mean originally and for years, this was a potato chip only produced and served to prison inmates.
What?
They had their own brand.
They had a brand. They sold specifically to prisons, and guys would get out of prison and they're jonesing for their own chips. And enough people over enough years were like, man, those are the best chips I've ever had. And now the Whole Shebang, you can find those yourself. You got to order them usually online. But shocking. By 2016, there were people, the demand was so large, they were like, well, I guess we can branch out. So you don't have to go in now to enjoy the Whole Shebang. You can
thank goodness.
You could, but that said, if you want to establish some street cred in a new neighborhood, just walk down the street with a bag of the Whole Shebang, and people are going to think, you've got some insider knowledge.
I was actually going to tattoo a little tear right below my left eye.
There you go.
Signifying that I may have killed someone in prison.
No.
But now instead I'll just have the chips.
Just get a bag of those chips, man. It's going to set you free.
Nice.
Yeah, you do come by it naturally being a Pennsylvania kid. There's no question about it. The leading producer of potato chips on the planet is the state of Pennsylvania. That's just a gorgeous thing. I never knew this. Pringles are technically not potato chips.
What?
They are made from a dough that is formed from dry potatoes.
Well, okay. Well, counts, Candace, now. Well,
okay, so I Pringles are fun, right? They've always been fun, but they've never made me feel good. Like I've always felt like kind of sick after eating Pringles.
Yeah, because you don't have one or two. I mean, the whatever Lay's says you can't eat just one. Even with Pringles, you kind of play with them. You stick it over your tongue, and you get that weird shape, and you're like, this is kind of cool. And then the problem with Pringles is that feeling you get in your throat after like 6 or 7. The only way to combat it is to eat more Pringles, and then eventually you gargle Drano to get that grease feeling out. But up until then, it's a real back and forth kind of situation. Requires balance and diligence and discernment.
Yeah, it disappears in your mouth, doesn't it? It's sort of like cotton candy chips almost.
Pretty much.
You just put it in there, it's just gone. It doesn't, it's just, but I did for the first time. I got some Lay's the other day, and they were not kettle cooked. I forgot how greasy chips used to be. You get that good greasy on your hands and salt under your fingernails. I mean, you set it down, if you were to set it down on a napkin, it would just soak right through the napkin. Yeah, that's a good chip to mix in every once in a while.
When you open that bag, air is not being released. Those bags are not full of air. A chip bag is full of nitrogen gas. It prevents the chips from oxidizing or turning stale. So you can not only get a chip fix, you can get a nitrogen fix if you're fast enough. I don't know what that means.
Nice, dude. Let's do
People pay a lot of that for the nitrogen coffee, that nitrogen blast in your coffee. Just grab a bag of chips with it. Although I wish a little less nitrogen, a little more chips. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I open it up, I notice it feels like the chip level's getting lower in the bag.
Oh, yeah. True. No. By the way, don't overlook how much we enjoy the crunching sound. That's a huge part of the pleasure of eating chips. There have been studies done where they get people who are potato chip fans, they put them in a room, they offer them chips, and then they have them listening to music or a TV show with headphones, and they eat fewer chips. They get bored with the chips because the crunch isn't a part of the experience.
That makes sense.
It does make sense.
A buddy of mine worked at the Old Dutch potato chip factory.
Old Dutch.
And the darker ones, they're dark because there's more sugar content baked onto the surface.
Was his name Big followed by his name? I would be. Oh, Big Steve? Yeah, he works at the chip factory.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And this is I've been this way my whole life. When I was in college, I used to go visit family in Baltimore. I'd go to my brother Jim's house, and every time, I mean, this was a real thing. I would get to his house and he would have taken all the potato chips he was had a job. He was out of college, didn't have kids yet, or maybe just when one or two kids. But early on, he and his wife both working. My point is this: he could afford brand name chips. I couldn't, and I would go to his house and I would sit down. I'd see a bag of Ruffles or Lay's or any actual chip and eat. And this is the family size bag. I would just eat the whole bag. And he was like, man, what is wrong with you? I mean, I'm not making any of this up. It's been a thing of mine. I got a problem with potato chips.
Hey, man, I love it.
The Charles chip can that used to come, the giant tub that they would deliver from a truck.
Yes,
yeah, man. When I was a kid, I'd be like, oh, my God, there's that giant bucket of chips again. Life's okay.
Put your feet up on it when you're done eating them. Yeah, it's perfect. I always keep it, not always, and I don't do this as much as I used to, but certainly in my batching days, there was always a bag of chips right next to the bed, just there on the nightstand. I'd wake up in the morning, eat some chips, go brush my teeth, eat some more chips.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a relationship that was not going to go the distance, and she's like, I can't really stand it with the chips and the crumbs and the crunching, and that was it. That was the end of it. I'm like, well, I don't think this is going anywhere anyway, and chips aren't going anywhere.
Hey, you're better off, Seth.
I feel like I am. Thank you, Candace. I was concerned about that decision.
I don't remember the exact number. It's somewhere between 5 and 8. It was the number of take an empty Charles Chips can. That's how many G.I. Joes you can comfortably sit in there and call it a moon capsule and throw it across the room with the lid on it. Because everything was a vehicle for my G.I. Joes, and you just sit them in there and cross, try to get their legs all on top of each other, but they'd all be in a circle facing each other in the can. We're off to the moon. Just put the lid on and throw that bad boy across the room.
All right,
crash landing.
Now I'm gonna get chip weirder on you here. Am I the only one? Myself and my oldest daughter Taylor do this. And when we're staying together, she stayed with me for a month last winter. It turned into a little bit of thing. I'd open the chip bag and I'd be like, "Who ate all the folded over chips, Taylor?"
Oh yeah,
the chips that are folded over, doubled over, those
Gold.
Kettle chips.
Gold. Oh, the best crunch.
Those are, right? That's the one you eat out of there, and that little son of a gun will go in there, that rascal, and just cherry pick those out of there. I'll open a bag of Kettle cooked chips that are all just flat and be like, are you, I'll eat them. Well, I don't throw them away, but really you're cherry picking the folded up chips.
I bought a tub at Costco once of a tub of chicken salad, some really good brand chicken salad I liked. And I was at home, and Rosemary walked in the kitchen, and I was spooning chicken salad, and I had pulled out all the biggest potato chips, and then I was literally making small sandwiches with potato chips, and Rosemary goes, "What are you doing?" And I literally said these words without a hint of irony. I go, "Well, I just didn't want to eat bread." And she goes, "You don't want to eat 2 slices of bread, but you're using potato chips for bread?"
Yes.
She's like, "Yeah, you're not really getting the point of this." And I'm like, "Just look, woman, just back away." Fresh bag of chips. All the big ones are still whole. And I got this chicken salad, and by God, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Oh, that's the trashiest, most beautiful hors d'oeuvre I've ever heard of in my life. It's happening.
It was pretty special. Snack season, this is also the time for men's basketball tournament. Your chance to win $1 million is coming back. You can register for our $1 Million Bracket Challenge at 92kqrs.com. Make a perfect pick. That is a $1 million bracket. Sponsored locally by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Contest rules for the $1 Million Bracket Challenge at 92kqrs.com.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is potato chip day. It is pie day. Why don't you just have a slice of pie and some potato chips? All 3 meals. Just load up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it works for me. Make no mistake about it. It's also a day, Thursday, March 14th, where we are preparing for 2 things. Blackberry Smoke tomorrow night at the Medina Entertainment Center. I'll be there. That's a hell of a band. Friday, June 7th, Buddy Guy will be playing at the Ledge Amphitheater. Zep, any chance you'll take in a Buddy Guy performance?
I would never, ever. There are about 3 artists on my list. One a Minnesota artist that if I'm in the area and they're playing, I don't care if it's a school night, thank goodness. June 7th is a Friday night. But yeah, every time and I don't know how many times I've seen Buddy Guy. That's how many times I've seen Buddy Guy. Yeah. There would be no reason not to. I can't think of one good reason not. If I was getting married on June 7th, I'd be like, well, sweetie, guess what? We're getting married at a Buddy Guy show. Intermission, I'll catch you with the ring.
Yeah, Buddy Guy, pretty much. I mean, that's one of the, Muddy Waters. He invented the Chicago blues.
Yeah, sure.
Buddy Guy, well, yeah, so did he. I mean, right on the heels of Muddy Waters, anyway.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys for sure who, to suggest that he's influential is to greatly undercut the fact that he's that influential. I mean, you can't really get your hands around how much he. The Checkerboard Lounge on the south side of Chicago, founded that in the early 70s. An iconic club. Everybody who's anybody has got up on that stage and played. The Stones played there with Muddy Waters. Clapton stops by all the time. James Cotton. All these people for years. The Checkerboard was one of those hole-in-the-wall joints, one of Buddy Guy's original clubs. And, man, if you've ever been at the Checkerboard, I don't believe it's no longer open. If you ever went to the Checkerboard, you had... the worst night there was a great night of music, is what I'm trying to say.
Always wanted to see B.B. King. Still regret and never got a chance to see him. Oh, you
didn't? Yeah, no, that's a fair regret right there. But yeah, BB certainly up there in this pyramid, tip of the pyramid we're talking about. The only road trip I ever made to Chicago to see a show. I've seen many shows in Chicago, but the road trip I made by myself on my motorcycle just to see a show was to go to, I think it's called Buddy Guy's Legends. It's a bar. I don't know if that's open anymore or not, because Buddy Guy was opening it up and he was playing a big blues fest thing. It was a Chess Records night, actually. And so I'm like, I'm going. Hopped on my bike and went down there. But he's not only so prolific and technically great, but his creativity with the blues. You can go to every one of his shows and he never plays any... the same tune again, exactly the same, but it's perfect every time.
87 years old, still doing it.
I was wondering, every time I look at his age, I'm like, wow. The last time I saw Buddy Guy, it has been about 6 or 7 years. And so he would have been in his 80s. Yeah. And you would have thought he was in his 50s. He ages well. Now, watch, I'll go see him on June 7th. And I don't think so. And that's the thing with the blues, I think those guys can literally, till the moment they drop, still hammer out the blues. They don't have to worry about some lead singers that, the screamers, the David Coverdales that hit the high notes, or even the Robert Plant. He talks about, not having the range that he once had, or some of those guitarists, even like Clapton, that just doesn't quite have the finger work like he used to. But these old blues legends, boy, I put a Buddy Guy show that I saw in 2000. 16 up against the Buddy Guy show I saw in 2000 or 1995 or 1987?
The first time I went to the Checkerboard Lounge was with Robert Plant. Here's a name drop for you. We were out on tour with him in 1990, and he said, we played in Chicago. Do you guys want to go see some blues? And the answer is yes. We do, Robert Plant.
Yes, sir.
So my whole band, the 5 of us at the time, and Robert and his assistant, we got into a van, just us, just went to this Checkerboard Lounge. House band was cooking. And the greatest part of the night was when the MC, like the guy, got on stage. He said, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest in the house tonight, a man all the way over from England. He, a kid who grew up listening to American blues, loving the blues music. Chicago blues means a lot to him, and he and some friends, they put their own spin on it. They brought it back to the American kids. He's a legend. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Mr. Led Zeppelin. And everybody, we were the youngest people in that bar by a significant amount. Yeah. Robert was also younger than most of the people in that bar at the time. And all you saw was the patrons of the Checkerboard. Everyone's like, oh, man. And everyone's like, I've heard of him, yeah. And everyone's looking around like, where's this Led Zeppelin guy? Yeah. And we all just fell out. And he stood up. He was laughing so hard. He stood up, waved, took it all in. And everybody that approached him, Led, yay, how you doing? I mean, he just thought it was great. Mr. Led Zeppelin. That was fantastic. All right, so all this to say, the great Buddy Guy at the Ledge Amphitheater June 7th, Blackberry Smoke tomorrow at Medina. We got tickets to both. Let's play a game, Tony Lee.
Obviously all of us, we loves the blues. And I think this is going to be fun.
Tell me my name.
What's my name? Tell me my name.
Say my name, bitch.
The KQ Morning Show presents.
What's your name?
What's your name?
What's your name?
What's your name, boy?
I got the blues.
What's your name, boy? Are these real names of actual blues artists, or are they made up as far as we know? Real or fake, true or false? What's your name, boy?
Oh, boy. All right, here we go. We'll deep dive into the blues, KQ Morning Show style. All right, Candace, we have 2 callers ready to roll. Who's contestant number 1?
Lance from Woodbury.
Lance, good morning.
Good morning, KQ.
Are you a Buddy Guy fan?
I am a Buddy Guy fan. I saw Buddy Guy at the Minnesota State Fair a long time ago, about 93, I think.
Wow.
Somewhere in there.
All right. Sir. Well, awesome. Well, if you win this game, you're going to see him again June 7th. Good luck to you, sir.
Right on. Thank you.
Let's go, Tony.
All right, Mr. Number 1, Clarence Gatemouth Brown.
Real blues artist.
Correct.
Without hesitation.
Oh, yeah. Number 2, Blind Boy Fuller.
Sounds good. I'm going to go with real.
Sounds good.
Boom.
Number 3, Bludgeoned Barry Burnett.
I'm going to say not a real blues artist.
Not a real one, nope.
I mean, yet. That bludgeoned hasn't been used yet?
As far as we know.
Very creative, though.
Oh, thank you. Number 4, Big Mama Thornton.
That sounds good. Real.
Yes, that is real.
Yeah, she does sound good.
Number 5, Big Fat Gladys.
I'm going to say not real.
You're doing great.
Oh, nice. That's a good sound.
What, are you calling from the Chess Records vault? My God.
I'm actually calling from Alta, Utah.
Alta, Utah. Did you do any skiing yesterday, Lance?
I
hear they got 15 inches up there.
Blowing through the snow.
Sounds delightful.
All right, man. Number 6, Spatula Jackson.
That sounds good. Let's go with real.
Oh, Spatula Jackson is nice.
Lance.
Does sound good, doesn't it?
Bachelor. Oh.
Sounds like one of those National Lampoon Blues, when they're Lampoon Blues. Spatula Jackson.
Spatula Jackson, not real. Tongs Thompson, very real.
All right, 2 more for you, Utah. Number 7, Petey Wheatstraw.
Petey Wheatstraw. Let's go with real.
Attaboy.
It is real. Petey Wheatstraw is real.
That was a new one to me. All right.
Pete Buck from REM. That was his hotel name for years.
Petey Wheatstraw?
Petey Wheatstraw.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome.
All right, your last one. Phil Nelson.
As in Philip?
Phil Nelson.
Phil Nelson. Let's say not real.
Correct. Most unbluesy thing we could have. All right, good job, man.
Man, what is that? That's 7 for 8, correct? I believe. Yes, it is. Wow.
Yeah, you only got one wrong.
Only missed Spatula, whatever that was.
Spatula Jackson.
Spatula Jackson. God, that's a
I think I
good.
need text.
Yeah, well, Lance, well played, sir. Sit tight. We're going to see how the competition fares. Candace, who's contestant number 2?
Mike from Maplewood.
Mike, good morning.
Good morning. I think I'm in trouble.
Oh, you're a good guesser.
Hey, man, you know what? It's better to know ahead of time that you're in trouble than to suddenly be surprised by trouble. So you're doing better than you think already. But but we're gonna wish you the best. Trying to win these Buddy Guy tickets. Tony, let's see what Mike's got.
All right, Mike. Number 1, Howlin' Wolf.
True.
My fave of all time.
Yeah, that's good.
Chester Burnett. Number 2, Pine Top Perkins.
False.
Oh, Pine Top is real.
Jeez. Okay.
It's all right. Got some more to go. Number 3, Swollen Glands Greenberg.
False.
Correct.
That's a real person. He's just not a blues musician.
Number 4, Snarling Squirrel Face.
I'll say true.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Boy, we all wanted it to be true.
Face, I think.
Oh, just a few more. Number 5, Ironing Board Sam.
False.
I'm sorry, that is true.
Oh, I never heard of Ironing Board Sam. Wow, all right. I'm going to Google him.
Blues man.
Everybody's favorite bandmate. Keep those shirts pressed.
Sure, he's multifaceted. Number 6, Backward Sam Fink.
True.
Correct. 2 more. Number 7, Severed Limb Lancaster.
True.
I'm sorry.
Severed
Tough
limb.
to play that guitar.
Yes. And,
Maybe
I
lost a
got a
leg.
seven limb.
and your last one, Arthur Archery Accident Anderson.
False.
Correct. That is not
It's 4 A's.
true.
That was it. Mike,
Oh,
you went
man.
4 for 8, which is fine, but not quite enough to keep up with Lance. So here's what we got. Lance, 7 for 8. Well done, sir. You got tickets to see Buddy Guy Friday, June the 7th. Mike, you tomorrow night have tickets for Blackberry Smoke at the Medina Entertainment Center. Both great nights out. Gentlemen, thanks for playing. Well done.
Thanks.
You got it. That reminds me of the Mark McKinney character, Kids in the Hall used to have. He had a blues character, Mississippi Gary,
Oh, yeah.
and he was dating Kathy with a K. She's like, I don't know why Mississippi Gary's so distant emotionally. Those are so great, man.
It's the blues, baby.
You
It's the
know it.
blues.
Well, this was fun. I want to do this again.
Oh heck yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, just scratching the surface. There's so many.
Mississippi Gary
blues
had that
artists.
song, riding on the night train, chewing on a jelly roll. I ain't making this up now. Oh, it's fantastic. That was great. Boy, oh boy. Now I'm really Zepp. I mean, I would have been excited to see Buddy Guy already, but you really got me chomping at the bit now. It's going to be great.
I mean, when you talk about, you brought up Muddy Waters and Tony brought up B.B. King, both long gone. B.B. not that long ago, I guess, but some of these guys of that ilk, the great blues masters that go back to the inception of the blues, or definitely the evolution of it into modern mainstream. There aren't a lot of them left out there. So,
No.
Buddy Guy is definitely one of the originals, and like I said, that guy, you will not be disappointed. No one's going to Facebook message me after the June 7th show and go, man, you really led me astray. I drove all the way up to the Ledge Amphitheater for that. That's not going to go through. You're gonna be thankful you did, and like Tony Lee, you're not going to be regretting that he didn't get around to seeing B.B. King. So go see Buddy Guy.
I only saw B.B. King once, and it was actually a terrible place to see him, which was 1994, like January of '94. The Super Bowl was in Atlanta. And the night before the game, the whole week leading up to the game, there's every night there's parties in town, concerts, performances. There was some event, I don't know, some private corporate event that I got some passes to go to, and I went down, and Buddy Guy, B.B. King was performing. Like, he was the entertainment for this party. And my brother and I, Tom, who's a guitarist, we're like thrilled. I'm like, holy crap, we're going to go see B.B. King. But it's like a corporate event. Like, people were way more concerned with the shrimp cocktail.
Oh, you hear plates and silverware.
Yeah, he's just, and there was room up front. You could stand there right in front of the stage, but people were just milling around talking and, you think the Cowboys can win another game? And 5 feet away, B.B. King's just up there ripping with a badass band, as you might expect. And we're like standing there just staring at him slack-jawed, the only people paying any attention really throughout. And we're just like, this is good for B because I guarantee you he got paid like a king's ransom to be there. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man.
Right.
BB stinking King.
Oh, that's a shame. BB King live at the Cook County Jail. It's about as good as it gets.
It's absolutely about as good as it gets.
I was lucky enough to see him, I think it was at the State Theater. It was a few years before his death, and I'm terrible with my memory, so someone's going to correct me and say, that was like 10 years before he died, but he's at the State. But sounded great, looked great, and I remember, but you talk about those shows, I remember seeing the great Albert King. The late 80s, I did.
That's my favorite. I love Albert King, man.
Yeah, Alligator Records. I was working a small little radio station down there in Sioux City, Iowa, and Alligator Records out of Chicago sent us a whole big, huge box of blues CDs, and my program director says, hey, anybody want to do a blues show on Sunday night? No one wants to do a blues show on frickin' Sunday night. But I did. Yeah. And so as a result, I was hip to Albert King and went out and saw him in the late 80s. And like you said, I showed up, and I thought, God, I hope it's not sold out. It was kind of a roadside blues bar kind of thing. Hope it's not sold out. Not only was it not sold out, there's about 20 people in there playing pool, throwing darts. Could have cared less that Albert frickin' King was on stage.
It's amazing. For people who say the blues are boring, no, bad blues is boring. It's like anything, you can see some horrible purveyors of bad blues music, and it can really turn you off of it. But it really is. There's a discernible, easy difference between the real McCoy and then just the douchebags who are like, oh, I love the blues. Let me see if I can do the same thing. And for everybody who says it's not about the notes you play, it's about the notes you don't play, they need a head slap too. Shut the hell up. Just go check it out and let your central nervous system dictate to you whether this is real or nonsense. It literally just get out of your own way and stop trying to overthink it. The good blues is as good as it gets.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do, because we had so much great blues here in Minnesota that would play all the time. There were just so many clubs and the Blues Saloon and all these great blues shows. Almost 5 nights, 6 nights a week, you could go out and see not only great local artists, but all these Chicago artists would just route right up here and play these small clubs around here. And I'd take my replacement friends and my Leonard Skinner friends out to see the blues, and they'd go, all right, you buying the first picture? Yeah, I'll buy the first picture. Let's go to the show. And it was almost religious when you see a blues master doing their thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Well, man, I could just sit here and talk about potato chips and the blues all day. Hell, maybe we will all morning.
Well, hang on. I got some more good stuff to mention, and that is that you still have time to pick up your Tee It Up golf card. This is number 3, and this is the final golf card for 2024. You can hit 7 area courses, save over $200 doing so. Tee It Up golf card number 3, final card for the year. Get yours at 92kqrs.com. Search keyword golf.
Yeah. Guess which country this didn't happen in? Teacher suspended a teacher for 2 days after allegedly shooting a student in class. It didn't happen in the holy what? We're going to click on that headline here pretty quickly. Oh, we have a comedian in studio over at Laugh Camp Comedy at 9 o'clock. I don't have my email in front of me, but we have a comedian coming in this morning as well. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, March 14th, Pi Day, if you prefer to know it, if you prefer to call it that. Mike Lester is going to be with us on the show at 9 a.m. He's at Laugh Camp this weekend, a very funny gentleman. We look forward to chatting with him. Right now, as Zep mentioned a moment ago, this is a story you would have immediately assumed, oh, this took place in the United States of America. But oh no, au contraire, mon frère. No, sir. A medical school teacher. Okay, stop right there. This is a school of medicine. A guy who's teaching prospective doctors in training in Bangladesh has been suspected. The teacher has been suspended because, well, he had a heated argument during an oral exam, and he responded to the student's questioning of his authority, or whatever the fight was about, by pulling out a firearm and shooting the young student in the leg.
I mean, I'm all for a little authority in the classroom.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that a teacher, let's just say it like that, was packing heat in class.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. A lot of questions here. The man's name is Rehan Sharif. He's a lecturer at a medical college in northwestern Bangladesh, suspended from his job for right now, a couple days after shooting and injuring a student again. So there was an oral exam. At some point, he started arguing with a 23-year-old student and shot him right in the knee. I mean, the bullet initially hit a mobile phone in the student's pocket, prevented a potentially life-threatening injury, still wound up in the hospital, surgery on the leg. Oh, man. I had a teacher once look at me, and he said this. He said this to a lot of students, but he actually said it to me once. He was a guy named Jim O'Boyle, and he was from the Bronx. Very memorable character. And he looked at me one day, and he said, Gorman, I'll smash your head in the cement. I was in sixth grade.
Yeah.
Gorman, I'll smash your head in the cement. That was his way of saying, hey, watch it. It's like, Gorman, I'll smash your head in the cement. And then that's what he used to say. That was his catchphrase. Like, we would all, hey, did Mr. O'Boyle, did he tell anyone in class today he'd smash their head in the cement? So, yeah, he told me that.
And unlike today, if you went home and said, Mom, Dad, Mr. O'Boyle said he'd smash my head in the cement, my teacher today, and they said, well, don't give him an excuse to.
100%.
You know? Maybe you need it. By the way, when I read that story, I was breezing through it. I thought he got suspended for a couple of days. Probably some more severe consequences coming for that teacher.
Sure.
But it sounds like a Hollywood movie if Jason Statham was your medical teacher, and you got and he just walked over and poof, popped you in the knee.
Yeah.
Any other questions? But yeah, that's pretty wild. We had a shop teachers. You know, they're right up there with, football coaches in high school that are also teachers. It's either one of two things with football coaches. They're a football coach that has to do some teaching, or they're a teacher that, hey, can you coach the football team? Mm-hmm. Not at the big programs, of course, we have here in the metro, but, out where I came from, good old 9-man football. I feel like it was whoever drew the shortest straw. You're the football coach and the track coach and the baseball coach.
Sure.
But we had Mr. Gorman was our shop teacher. He was not the football coach, but he was a good old stereotypical shop teacher and one hell of an American. But he would throw textbooks at you if you fell asleep in his class. I don't even remember what class, not shop class, but just one of his other classes he'd teach. And I remember him just nailing a kid in the head from like 8 rows back.
Wow, really?
With a textbook, a hardcover textbook. And yeah, you didn't go home and, Mom, Dad, Mr. Gorman hit me in the head. I know the name thing, right?
Well, Gorman's the Irish. It's from O'Gorman, and that in Gaelic means book thrower. So, that all checks out.
He checked out with the name. I just realized, I was like, oh, my God, my shop teacher has the same name as Steve. But old Mr. Gorman, he plowed him right, just caught him right in the head. And the idea was that, well, don't fall asleep in class. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a book thrower. I had an English teacher, Mr. Rich, and what he would throw at you when you fell asleep in class, which it's funny to look back and realize this was at least once a week. Somebody would nod off in class. He would take the chalkboard eraser. Just a little black handheld eraser, which is loaded with chalk dust.
That'll leave a mark.
And that would you'd just wake up and you're in a cloud of chalk dust because it just hit you in the side of the face. Didn't hurt, left a mark, woke you up. And again, 2024, no teachers getting away with that. 1978, just once a week at least.
I'm wondering what the books were in the shop teachers area that he tossed.
This wasn't the shop class.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, probably Catcher in the Rye. No, a little bit heavier than that. I remember it was... you could either take, home ec or shop, and there was a class in shop that you took in the classroom. I forget what it was, but woodworking. But, the book was like 2 inches thick, and he would just whip that bat overhanded. Sure. Not like a Frisbee or anything accurate like that, but he'd whip it overhand, and, he just normally would hit your desk or go over your head, and you'd wake up. But, he cut Lloyd right in the old top of the head. Whammo!
Man, we didn't have my school was so small. We didn't have shop, but we did have. There was a kind of a home ec class that was, but for boys, and they called it. So my school, the team mascot we were the Blazers, and it looked like Daniel Boone, like a trailblazer guy. Like that was the dude, right? Coonskin cap, long rifle. Daniel Day-Lewis in that movie. It's a vibe like that. Some of the people he was running with, but that was it. The University Heights Trailblazers, and then it was short for Blazers, and green and gold, the whole thing. And so there was a class, and it was called Blazer Batching.
Blazer Batching.
Batching was short for bachelor, and it was basically it was to teach you how to just like be an adult. You learned how to cook. You learned how to balance a checkbook. We went and opened bank accounts. I mean, it was like, and I look back and like everyone took it like, oh, it's an easy A, take it. What a great idea. I mean, it was really kind of helpful. I ignored all of it as an adult, but I wish I hadn't.
Bizarre that, and I don't know what the heck, maybe they are doing exactly that in a lot of schools. You hear people grousing, mostly in the media, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, some practical life skills, not bad. But you're right, you're not hitting your target audience, because in high school, if you tried to teach me how to balance a checkbook, I'd be like, yep, got it. Would have retained zero amount of it. Or the same goes for cooking.
Oh, we were whipping up like spaghetti, ragu, just making pastas and stuff. It was just ridiculous.
Wait, I have to take it out of the can and heat it first?
Yeah, I was a
ravioli out of the can guy myself.
I haven't thought of that in years. I haven't thought about that class in forever. As long as we're talking about really bizarre stories. In Georgia, 2 men are accused of all kinds of things. They got up to no good and thankfully were caught before they could pull off this series of events. Long story short, let's see. A guy named Stephen Glosser met a woman on a dating app. And they went out a few times, but the relationship went south. It's about to become apparent why that happened. Went south. They blocked each other. Stephen Glosser and this woman blocked each other from a dating app.
She blocked him first.
Yeah, he couldn't let it go. He's like, I've got to get her back. He was seeking vengeance. A buddy of his showed up. They start talking about it, and his friend says, "Hey, man, let's just take care of this once and for all. We need to pay her back." They came up with a plan. This is real. These guys were accused of and arrested for the following plan that they had. First, we're going to shoot some arrows into her front door.
Nice.
I guess they're like crossbow hunters. We're going to shoot some arrows into her front door. We're going to send her through the mail dog feces and dead rats.
Okay.
Then we're going to get into her home and scalp her.
Whoa.
Then we're going to blow her home up. And here's where it gets fun, we're going to set loose a large python to eat this woman's child.
I'm sorry, I lagged.
Covering all bases.
I didn't see that one coming.
They conspired to. The words are harass, intimidate, injure, kill. That's the HIIK. I'm looking for an acronym. Forget it. We'll move on. They found the victims. They found her home. They built an explosive device using tannerite. That's a brand of a firearm target. It explodes when struck by a bullet. Yeah. So they were going to use the device to blow up her house. And again, they had a large python ready to then go in after the explosion and maybe find the woman's daughter and eat her. Authorities found evidence of the explosives, and in Glosser's journal, he had written all this out. These were all plans, and they found all the corroborating evidence. They've been indicted on all kinds of charges, and I have to think among those charges has to be possession of speed. You
right.
Clearly have not slept in weeks if this is your idea of a plan.
Super tweakers, and I might also recommend, maybe they'll have time in prison, that they just do what they really want to do, where all this frustration is really coming from, and just kiss each other. Just do it, guys. Go through with it. It's all right. I understand the anger and where it must be coming from. Sure. You're in Georgia, very repressive. Maybe you grew up in a small town. Just go ahead and make out with each other. You'll feel much better. They probably didn't have the capability to do any one of these things, except maybe mail some dog feces or something. I doubt they would even follow through with that, but quite an imagination after you've been tweaking for several days. A large python. And would they work with the python? Is there a chip in the python? How do you know that the python is going to eat just the daughter? Maybe it'll eat the cat.
Not really sure.
Right. It's very specific.
I do know. I myself have never gone on a days-long meth binge, but I hear that you can speak to animals after a certain point. You can communicate with our animal brethren. So that python might have been just taking notes himself.
Yeah,
so hang on.
Sometimes they talk back if you've been up long enough.
How old is she? 4? I can do that. I you know what, guys? Let me have the 4-year-old. I'll take it. That python's looking them right in the eye, talking to him. They can. This is great, man. Your snake is cool, dude. Yeah, he's awesome.
What would have been poetic justice is if they actually got their hands on the large python, dipped down there into Florida, and grabbed one out of the Everglades, and it ate one of them. That would have been fun. That would have been a fun ending to this story. Yeah.
That would have been nice. We mentioned earlier in the show the cicadas are coming soon to a good bit of the Midwest. There's 2 broods of cicadas. They emerge together every 221 years. That year is this year, and it is happening next month. If you're not familiar with cicadas, they're just a large, completely harmless bug that makes a whole lot of noise when it pops up every 13 or 17 years or so. Long story short, there's a little part of Illinois where the 2 different broods actually overlap. They're going to get both types of cicadas. There are going to be, in North America alone, 1 trillion cicadas. 1 trillion. I'm reading this like, wait, this can't be true. Right. But no, they're saying 1 trillion. And per acre, in a lot of the places where the cicadas are coming, there will be more than 1 million cicadas per acre. 1 million per acre. If you just think of what an acre, like someone who's got a yard that's an acre big, it's a great sized yard.
Sure.
But for 1 million of anything, that's not very big.
That's a carpet of cicadas.
Yeah, basically. And so it's going to be interesting. They go up to a single cicada has been measured at making noise at 100 decibels. So suffice to say, if the cicada horde is anywhere near you in April and May, you will be hearing about them. They're big, and I've experienced 2 cicada breakouts in my life. I've had them in my hair. I've had them on my arms. They land on you. They're completely harmless. They look at you, and they're just as freaked out by us as we are by them. But I don't know of any stories of anybody like eating cicadas, although apparently they're chock full of nutrients.
Yeah, they're nutritious. When Steve told me about these cicadas this morning, at first I was like, ick, look at their freaky eyes, and then they shed their skin.
But then you put on your lab coat.
They're pretty awesome. I've been doing a lot of reading about these bad boys.
Would you chomp one down?
Shrimp down there. Oh, by the way, if you have a shellfish allergy, did you read this? Because earlier this morning we talked about southern shrimp that many years ago, not so much probably, well, actually, they probably still do, but people consider them a bit of a delicacy. They taste like shrimp. It turns out the cicada is in the shellfish family. If you're allergic to shellfish, you can't eat cicadas.
Whoa.
Okay, that's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Like now I'm picturing shrimp living in living underneath a tree for 17 years.
Yeah.
And then finally waking up and going, "Hey, let's go get some fresh air."
Right. And straight. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, but I've often thought, because again, I've been through 2 of these. They're huge, but we've all been at least once in our life somewhere in a car, open window, maybe on a bike, Zep, maybe on a bicycle as a kid. You swallow a bug. A fly goes right in or something, and that feeling is like, and you're like, I can't believe this just happened. A gentleman woke up a few weeks ago, 53-year-old man in Vietnam woke up with great throat discomfort, and then his voice, as he was trying to explain how he felt, was hoarse. And he was like, wait a minute, man. My throat hurts and I'm losing my voice. I've got laryngitis. I don't understand what the point is. He started, and then at some point shortly thereafter, he started noticing in his saliva a little bit of blood. So that's scary. If I wake up and I have a sore throat, I think, I drank last night. I slept with my mouth open. My throat's sore. That happens. Or I think maybe I got a little cold. That happens. But if I wake up and my throat's sore and I'm hoarse and I have a little blood coming out when I spit, I'm going straight to the clinic. I'm like, we got a problem. He did the same thing. Looked in the mirror and saw what looked to be a brown mass in the upper part of his throat. Like back there, he could see something that's not normally there, and he thought, I panicked, and which anybody would. He goes to his
ciggies, man.
He goes to the clinic, and the doctor takes a look and goes in there and he goes, no, okay, nothing. Let me take care of this. Let me get that leech out of your throat.
Oh,
to grab some tweezers.
A leech.
Nothing gets to the back of my throat without my permission or me knowing about it. Like you said, flying down the road, mayfly season in northern Minnesota on a motorcycle is a special time. You want to really purse those lips, but a leech doesn't just.
Yeah.
I mean, when that goes in your mouth, it just doesn't accidentally end up in your mouth. It was swimming or whatever. You got a leech in the back of your frickin' throat.
They're sneaky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. I have seen
sneaky leech.
I have seen a friend walk out of knee-deep water and have leeches on his calves, and that is a sight you don't forget.
No,
because I immediately go right back. That seems like a medieval situation, and I was surprised as a kid to learn that leeches are still around.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I used to hate going tubing when I was younger and camp and stuff, because I'd get out of the tube and there'd be 100 in my butt. Just like
in the butt.
In my butt.
Well, that's because tubing's one thing. Tubing at Old Leech Creek is a whole different thing.
And which drunk friend got the leech removal?
Hold on, you're telling me, Candace, you literally I'm going to ignore the in the butt part, but you went tubing and got leeches.
Oh yeah, there's lots of leeches in Minnesota rivers and lakes and stuff.
Not in these clean, beautiful lakes up here.
I had a camp counselor who would eat them.
What the heck?
You get the leeches, and fry them up.
Come on.
Not kidding.
Oh man! So it's cicada season coming. Leeches. What else we got? A little swimmer's itch. Look out for the swimmer's itch here in Minnesota
swimmer's itch
now.
when I was a kid too.
Okay, please educate me. What the hell are y'all talking about?
You just go and you come out itchy.
Yeah, like some little parasite and some little microscopic bug in the water. There'll be signs. I remember heading down to the water to jump on the jet ski, and I'm like, wait, what's that? Oh, that's beware of a swimmer's itch. Yeah, I know. What is that? Well, there's things in the water. I'm like, okay, so now carefully get on the jet ski. Don't be too crazy that you go in. I don't want swimmer's itch. I don't want it.
Okay, hang on a second. I grew up a guy who thought that you came here to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. You're telling me
topless
that if I go into Lake Minnetonka, there's a chance I might get swimmer's itch or leeches.
Yeah,
that is not a part of the movie. There is not one moment where Prince Rogers Nelson looks in the camera and says, "But watch out for the leeches, Apollonia." That didn't happen. I'm freaking out right now.
No, 99% of the time you're going to be just fine in any a lake around the metro. But I think the leeches tend to hang out in those swampy or wetland areas and some of the rivers.
Okay.
But I think you're going to be fine for the most part. But there's a little microscopic parasites. It's a freaking lake, It's not a pool. There's stuff in there.
All right, I guess that checks out. I can live with it as long 99%. I'm good with those odds. The way you guys were talking, I was just thinking like, wait, this is a real thing I got to deal with now. Come on.
I'll tell you what. Anyone that's lived in the southeast or out west or perhaps in a different country below the equator has some stories about some crazy ass stuff out there. Minnesota fairly tame by comparison. But yeah, we've got a few things. Leech and tick check. You come out of the woods, you come out of the lake, you just want to. It can be fun.
Ticks I'm good with. I've experienced. I've been in tick. The land of the tick my whole life, so that's nothing new. It's the 100 leeches in my butt that I'm not going to be able to. That's what I'll be thinking about tonight when I'm trying to sleep.
My butt?
You're the one who said it.
With leeches all over it.
Yeah, I don't like ticks though. Ticks are gross. Their little legs, and they get on my goats. But my birthday is coming up, so I'm wondering if any of you guys are going to get me one of those tick mitts.
Well, we could do that.
Don't ruin the surprise now.
I want one for self-massage purposes.
Mm-hmm. Get it monogrammed with your initials. It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah, something nice. What color would you like?
Yeah, pink.
Pink, of course. Yeah. Pink tick mitt coming up, monogrammed.
Boom.
Got it.
We got it. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. It's important. Sometimes women have to remember. You have to tell us very directly because we ain't going to figure it out.
Oh yeah, no. It happened recently. My daughter said, "Leech in the butt, in the butt." No, my daughter said something recently. I said, "Oh, when your birthday comes up, remind me you want that." She's like, "Why don't you just make a note in your phone?" I'm like, "Because I don't ever check the notes in my phone. Can you just remind me what you want for your birthday?" Meanwhile, I'll say something in passing or be singing along with a song, and suddenly the autobiography of Bruce Springsteen shows up, on my birthday. I'm like, "What? Well, yeah, you were singing along with a Springsteen song 6 months ago." Women, they're tough to out present.
Yeah, make no mistake. We're playing shorthanded always in these sort of games. Hey, this Friday, that would be tomorrow at 5, we're kicking off St. Petty's Day weekend. 92 KQRS will kick off every hour with a Tom Petty song. Plus, listen for double shots and bonus tracks all weekend, sponsored by yourboatclub.com.
I like that. Mike Lester, Laugh Camp. Doing a stand-up when he was still in high school, I was reading. Mike Lester going to be at the Laugh Camp this Friday and Saturday, both shows at 8 p.m., and will join us here about the top of the hour. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In a few minutes, Mike Lester is going to call in. He is at Laugh Camp tomorrow night and Saturday night. A very funny gentleman. We will catch up with him. Had him on the show last year, I remember, and really enjoyed that. It is Pi Day. 3/14, March the 14th, 3.14, and then followed by a bajillion numbers. That's pi, of course. The mathematical constant of pi, the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of people know that pi is a thing. A lot of people don't know what it means. A mass of pi. There are folks who immediately then assume we're talking PIE Day, not just PI Day.
That's what I'm thinking about.
But there was a movie a few years back. What was it called? Was it called The Life of Pi?
The Life of Pi.
About the tiger.
Right. Yeah, based on the book.
Tiger in the Boat, yeah.
Tiger in the Boat, yeah. Fun movie.
It was cool.
Or not, because I was recommended by a friend of mine who doesn't have kids of his own. Oh, my God, you should take the kids. They'll love it.
No, not for kids.
And they were, I don't know, 6 and 8 or 7 and 5.
Is he thinking of the Jungle Book, maybe?
And we were like, yeah, let's go. Take the kids to see Life of Pi. Let me think about the first time they were traumatized. Maybe when the ship filled with animals sunk to the bottom of the ocean.
Spoiler.
Hey, that's life.
Holy crap. I mean, my children were literally just beside themselves.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
And then
there's kids.
And then a kid's in a rowboat with a tiger. Not good for kids. We were flummoxed, to say the very least.
Yeah. I mean, did you at any time think about bailing on the movie, or would
I'm pretty sure we did.
Things?
I don't remember much about it other than them being like hiding their faces in our shoulders and freaking out.
Sure. The tiger ate some other critters too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 2 times I was absolutely bad dad. That was one of them. The other was when took the kids to a Six Flags, and I looked ahead of time at the family-friendly roller coasters. You have the extreme roller coasters. Didn't even look at that page on the website. Found a few that were good for children who at the time would have been 6 and 8 years old. One of those, and by the way, I went back and double-checked, and it was a mistake on their website because I walked my 6-year-old daughter right onto a roller coaster that went upside down, I think, 3 times and did a loop-to-loop another couple times. It was beyond terrifying for this poor child.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And you can't see the track until you see it. Like the whole time you're in line, it's hidden from view. And we're just like, this will be great. This will be great. Never once did I look around and go, doesn't seem to be any other 6-year-olds in this line.
I know, right?
And she was clearly just tall enough to get on. And we are in the front row because that's what you do. And I looked over at her as we were going through the second straight like loop to loop, and her face was completely expressionless.
Oh, honey.
A blank face that you can only accomplish from abject fear.
I know that. You weren't trying, but I was. My dad was very much like this, so I ended up adopting this characteristic also as a father, and that was, no, it'll be good for them if we scare them with these thrilling things when they're young, these things that they're just a little too young for, whether it be kind of a crazy movie, mine was scary movies. No, they'll love it. You got to kind of break them in when they're young, and then they enjoy them when they're older. The people that don't like scary movies or scary rides when they're older didn't experience them when they're young, and now I don't know where I came up with that. I didn't read it anywhere. I just figured it out wrong all by myself.
That's how my dad was. He forced me to watch Psycho when I was like 6. And we were just like in the living room on a Sunday afternoon watching it, and then I had to just like go outside and sit on the stoop.
Yeah.
Just sit there.
Or
Sat
go in
there
the basement under a light bulb.
Yeah. It turns out actually psychologically you ruin your kids for that. I had it
I don't think so. I turned out
backwards.
just fine. What you're talking about.
Just,
Well,
there's age-appropriate times for things, I guess. Although Sydney still loves zombie movies, and I think we watched Resident Evil when she was 3. Went home and I was watching. She's like, it was inappropriate. I said, there wasn't any nudity in it. Nudity? There were people shooting other people in the head. No, they were zombies. And I hope that my child knows what to do now when, not if, approached by a zombie.
Pi Day, thanks to Archimedes of Syracuse, one of the great mathematicians of the ancient world, the first man to calculate pi. He lived, by the way, from 287 to 212 BC. Yeah. So people have been talking about this crap for a really, really long time. But let's get on to what we talk about now when we talk about Pi Day. We talk about like literally pies, like as in the round thing that tastes good, sits on a windowsill and cools off, and you got to make sure that those crazy neighbor kids don't get into your windowsill pies. Yeah, those. The number 1 Googled pie for each state is available thanks to our friends at Google.
Oh, cool.
In Kentucky, it's Derby pie. That's a Kentucky Derby thing.
Oh.
Chocolate and walnut open-faced custard pie baked in a pre-baked pie shell. You could do a lot worse than that. Make no mistake about it. Mike Lester is at Laugh Camp tomorrow night and Saturday night. Mike Lester is on the horn with us right now. Mike, good morning, sir.
What's cooking? How are you? Good morning to you. That pie sounds good.
It does sound good. Are you a pie guy? Are you got a sweet tooth?
Give me any sort of sweet. I mean, I gotta get it in now.
But
at 31, I gotta get it in now.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, no, the clock is absolutely ticking. Just load up while you still can.
Especially for me.
Yeah. Well, any particular reason you feel the clock's ticking, especially for you?
The road's just been hard. It's like you get a lot of options, and I'm picking McDonald's most of the time. So
sure.
Looking at my family history too. This is a very uplifting way to enter the call, isn't it?
No, it's really nice. It's important to get ahead of the curve. Make plans now. You know what I mean? Save it so the people that you leave behind don't have to sweat these details. I think that's very responsible of you.
Well, what I really mean is now you got to come see me now. While I'm at my peak, you got to come see my shows now.
I tell you what, man. I'm a fan of a good of anybody that can get people into a room, but from whatever in any way it takes, by any means necessary, or by any means possible.
Maybe I'll just eat one of those pies. You come to Laugh Camp this weekend, I'll just eat pie for an hour.
Mike Lester is going to eat a pie. And also, by the way, not only is it Pie Day, which is, of course, a mathematical thing, but we're talking about pies you eat. This is also, and I don't know if you're aware of this, National Potato Chip Day.
Oh, well, I mean,
You're a chip guy from way back.
From way back. I mean, that was my baby food, basically.
Sure. Yeah, just shake them all up and put them in the bottle, add a little milk, boom.
Yeah, just some milky dill pickle chip gruel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, how's that sound?
It actually sounds pretty great. We were discussing our various levels of potato chip addiction here on the show. We got some issues. We're still just not addressing in a very healthy way at all.
Oh, what's going on? Does anyone else like those sour cream and cheddar ruffles?
Oh, my God. I literally just bought those from the vending machine.
Candace literally holding a vending them as we speak.
Willing to pay $3.50 for 4 chips.
Yeah.
That's how good they are.
$3.50?
Or I don't know. It's a vending machine. It's because now you can use your card. You don't have to have the change, and so you walk up and go, $2.50 for like a half a candy bar? I mean, I'm going to do it, but I feel bad about it.
Yeah, I'd pay. Listen, I'd still pay.
Yeah.
I don't know. These used to be better. I don't think that they are as good as they used to be. Or maybe it's just because I was in high school stoned with my friends, the Richfield 7, of course, going to SA buying this. And then we'd always dip them in like cheese dip, too, because we were disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
all the
chips
right
are
ways.
definitely better when you're baked or kettle cooked, as I like to say.
Mike, someone did a study where they had a lot of people who love potato chips eating chips, but they had them wear headphones, and they found that they got bored much quicker because the crunch wasn't a part of it. Are you a happy man when you're crunching a chip? Because I love the right crunching sound.
Oh, yeah. I love some good self-ASMR.
Yeah.
I actually got to be careful if I eat chips on the road. I'll fall asleep behind the wheel. That's happened quite a few times.
A lonesome road, a bag of chips. It's just like a foot rub, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, how did the car flip? And it's like, I ate half a can of Pringles. What more needs to be said?
Not much at all. Mike Lester's at Laugh Camp tomorrow, Friday, March 15th, and Saturday, March 16th. Tomorrow, of course, is the Ides of March. You know, you got to beware of the Ides of March, Mike. We all know from Julius Caesar, things can go horribly awry on March 15th.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, right now, I'm just hoping they accept my credit card at this vet for my dog. I gotta go back in there in like 6 minutes. So.
Everything okay? I've spent a lot of time at the vet this week with my dog. In fact. Really?
What's going on? Yeah, she had to have her glands expressed. Nothing's going to be bad.
Yeah, no.
I hope not.
Yeah.
They're looking at me. They're looking at me right now. I'm just outside of the vet screaming about potato chips into a phone. So.
Listen, your dog, where your dog struggles, you have no problem expressing yourself. And I think that's an important thing for a stand-up.
That's right. Come watch me express my emotional anal glands this weekend at Camp Bar in St. Paul.
Yeah.
It's going to be...
How's that?
So, man, you are like 2 for 2 on slogans. You're mentioning expressing your anal glands of comedy, and then also with my pending death, it's a really good time to see me. You're doing great.
People are going to be afraid coming into this show.
As well they should be. You know what I mean?
As well they should be.
Mike, I just in things I'm reading about you and seeing about you, what's going on with you in Costco? You got a lot on your mind about Costco?
I got a lot going on. I mean, it's an up and down relationship. They might revoke my membership here soon.
Come on. How is that? How does Costco kick you out?
Well, because I want to be sponsored. I want to be the first ever official Kirkland-sponsored athlete, but they don't think I make the cut. You know, I mean, I've sent them plenty of tape of me golfing, but they're not getting back to me.
We got to see what we can do about
me.
that. That would be a ringing. That's a hell of an endorsement. The first Kirkland sponsored athlete. Are you talking golf? Is this mini golf? What is this?
Well, I know I seem like a mini golf guy, but it's golf. But I think they're also in the middle of a lawsuit with TaylorMade because of the last Kirkland iron set, so they want the heat to die down.
Yeah, first I've heard of it. They do a good job of squashing the beef, keeping it from the public, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of hot dogs in that payoff.
Man, for like $1.25 each, too. Still always a great bargain.
I imagine them just sending 5,000 hot dogs to the TaylorMade HQ and saying, "Are we good?
Are we square?" What about those pecan clusters they offer up, man? That's deadly.
I mean, you really can't go wrong. It's like, you got that 7-pound rotisserie chicken for $5.
Yep.
That they just pumped with growth hormones. Like, how long do those chickens even make it on the farm before they keel over? I mean, those are some big chickens.
Real big chickens. But you know what? Whatever's in those growth hormones, you could just put it straight in me if it's going to make, if I get the same feeling I get when I'm wolfing down one of those chickens, if I could feel that way all day long, I think life would be a lot better.
I think they are going straight in.
You feel like you're floating, your hands are tingling.
Yeah,
your mouth gets dry, you get shooting pains up your arm.
Hey, speaking of warm chicken experiences, I'll just throw this out there, Mike, just because it's true. When I was in 7th grade, I met Colonel Harlan Sanders himself.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Colonel.
What was the Colonel like?
He was old as hell, and he got out of a white limousine in the parking lot of a diner in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and he was immediately accosted by a 7th grade soccer team who responded to seeing him as if we were seeing Jesus himself walking on water.
Well, you were. He probably thought you were all his grandchildren.
I wouldn't be surprised. I hear he was a tomcat back in the day. No, this is about an hour, not even 40 minutes south of Louisville, Kentucky, and a white limousine pulls up at a time when you never saw limousines, and literally the Colonel himself got out. I mean, we were beyond shocked, and we ran to him, and he just said, "Hello, children," and then he got back in his limo and drove off. It was great.
He said, "Hello, children."
That's what he was saying.
A cane at you.
Yeah, pretty much. He had the whole and full on. I'm not making any of this up. He had the bolo tie on. He looked great.
Wow, did he have chicken on him?
Did not offer us chicken, sadly. And by the way, this was mere months before he passed.
Wow, The last known sighting.
As far as I know, yeah. I think that's when he realized, like, I've done it all. I saw a soccer team. I'm good. I'm checking out. Mike Lester, you've been doing stand-up since you were in high school? Is that true?
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. But it's going good. As long as this credit card goes through and they give me my dog back, we're going to make it to these shows.
Well, listen,
we're going to make it to these shows.
If you need backup, man, we can be there. We're off the air in less than an hour. Just just text us the address. We'll show up. We'll get that dog out of there.
Yeah, I would like to be more of a permanent part of KQ. Even if I'm like a correspondent, you ever do that?
Brilliant.
I could just call in from the field. How about this? I call in from a different golf course every week. We call it Mike's Municipal Minute.
You know what you're doing right now? You're literally spinning pure gold in my ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I won't even charge you at first. How about that?
At first. What are you? Listen to the pool shark here.
Yeah, I know. But you've got to get kicked off every course. That's how every show ends, with you getting kicked off the public golf course.
I don't have many munis left to go to, so it'll be a short series.
So how is your game? What kind of handicap are we talking?
Oh, I got a lot of problems.
Oh, okay.
I got a lot of problems. Yeah.
So you're just like every other golfer I know. Then good.
No, I'm like a plus 11 right now.
That's not bad golf, Mike.
It's not bad. I'm playing the best golf of my life, doing the best comedy of my life. And if you want to see a comedy golf exhibition, you need to head on down to Laugh Camp Comedy tomorrow and Saturday.
Mike Lester spinning promotional lines like there's no tomorrow. Friday, March 15th. Saturday, March 16th.
I will chip a ball into your mouth and not even hurt your teeth.
That's fantastic.
I don't know where my imagination went on that one.
Yeah, no kidding. Mike, it's a pleasure yet again to have you on the show. So let me ask you this. If you and I go to the range, what's your most consistent club? What I mean, are you a long hitter, chipper? What's the strength of your game?
I can hit them all.
Wow.
I can hit them all. I'm not even joking. Every club in the bag, because I have golf is all about consistency, so I learned a single plane swing, so basically any club in the bag.
I like that, man.
I know, man.
I'll help you. I'll help you.
Coaching pro, stand-up comedian Mike Lester, right there. That's what I need.
If you come to Laugh Camp Comedy and you bring a golf club, I will show you what you're doing wrong.
The doorman at Laugh Camp Comedy right now is going, that son of a bitch. Do you know how many golf clubs showed up at the front door? Can't let you take the 7 in, sir.
Yeah. But... the doorman's not happy about it, but there are plenty of people driving around going, I think I'm going to give this a try. Yeah, I mean,
you just sold some tickets, man.
We'll put on a clinic.
Man, that's fantastic. Mike, it is a pleasure to chat with you, brother. All the best, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, guys. It's an honor to call in, and I can't wait for the start of Mike's Municipal Minute right here on KQ92.
We just started it. I heard it. You heard it. Come on. We're volume 2 soon.
Can't wait till next week.
Right on. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
I like a guy who just gives himself his own job on our show.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's we encourage that. Yeah.
I mean, literally, he said, I want to do this. I'm going to do this. And not one of us even attempted to stop him.
No, not. You know, the only thought
his dog is sick. That's the only reason.
Yeah, right. He's trying to get, but that's the thing. He didn't mention money. He does know how radio works, right?
Yeah, apparently so.
He's not doing it for money, man.
Well, he said he'd do it free initially.
Initially, right? Yeah, and he suckers us in with some good stuff.
He's a pusher like that.
Sounds like he knows. You know what? I'm not gonna lay any money down on a round of golf with him. I can tell you that. In fact, speaking of, one of my favorite golf courses up there in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. I got a buddy up there that has a place. A lot of people up in Siren, Wisconsin, from Minnesota go up to Siren, the Chautauqua area. Only a couple of thousand people. Beautiful prairie lake up there, and they just got scammed out of millions of dollars. Little Chautauqua, Wisconsin, just got scammed in a wire fraud situation. We'll have that story coming. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
Humble pie, 30 days in the hole. You're welcome. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That'll get your morning up and rocking right there. Humble Pie, a band featuring the late, great Steve Marriott and a very young and very clean-shaven Peter Frampton back in the day was the original other guitarist in Humble Pie. Drummer Jerry Shirley, bass player, don't know, don't care. Boy, I liked Humble Pie, though. I still do like Humble Pie.
Pie.
Based on a true... there you go. See how it all ties in. I assume that's why actually we were playing it. Standard here. But, based on a true story, I believe. I remember Frampton in an interview years ago talking about getting pulled over by the Fuzz somewhere out there while they're on tour in a van and... Tried to get him on some charges for perhaps drugs, I believe, at the time. Yeah.
Could have been. Peter Frampton. Candace was just telling me some stuff about Peter Frampton that was fascinating.
What?
I'll just, you know what? Let me paraphrase it. Let me put this. Let me make this appropriate for radio. He doesn't turn her on.
He doesn't do much for me. He doesn't make me.
He doesn't. He doesn't curl her toes.
Doesn't float your boat.
I mean, it's he's lost some follicles. He had that long curly hair back in the day, and
just Google "I'm in You" album cover and tell me that isn't just the epitome of '70s rock god. The open shirt. The curly hair is that referenced? Come on.
I traded the Peter Frampton centerfold from, I don't know, Tiger Beat magazine, whatever it was back in the 70s, for Julie Miedema's lunch on the bus. So she was into him for sure and got me a free lunch out of the deal.
Man, look at
I'm in
Frampton.
you. When you say that now, it doesn't. Does that hold up? Well, I'm in you. It seems it's not something you could say to one. You got to be a rock star singing "I'm in you." You can't just say, "Hey, baby, I'm in you."
Well, he followed. The line is, "I'm in you, you're in me." So I mean, he's going figuratively here. We hope.
Well, it could be. Well,
it could be all number of things. Who knows?
Yeah. It's
rock.
Good rock is open to interpretation. More darkness.
Yeah, like he kind of just looks like a clean version of Lindsey Buckingham in these photos.
Well, he's not a complete lunatic. So yeah, sure. I mean, there's that. That's another difference between he and Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, he's no Ozzy.
God.
No, he's wonderful. I saw him at Moondance. It was super cool. I just, didn't get my rocks off.
Wow.
Well, to be fair, you had 100 leeches in your butt that day, so you weren't.
I just wanted to say that.
I feel like the gauntlet's been thrown down. I think Peter Frampton's going to come to town here April 1st. I believe he's at the State Theater, and he is going to get Candace Wheeler's rocks off. We're going to watch it happen.
All right, I'm down.
Don't challenge Frampton. If I know Frampton, he's up for a challenge.
God.
Yeah, God. Speaking of a challenge, I just saw this story. Check this out. Now, this is in South Africa. A gentleman, 37-year-old Anthony Joubert, not to be confused with former Michigan guard Antoine Joubert from the 80s. Oh, man, that's going way back. Out fishing with his 12-year-old son, waded into what he said was a couple inches of water to untangle some line that had gotten into a tree. Who came flying out of the water, ambush style, but a 13-foot crocodile.
Oh, yeah.
True story. I'm reading this right now. It exploded from the water. Its jaws around his leg knocked the guy flat. It adjusted its grip, had my second leg in its mouth just below my belt, and started thrashing this guy around the way crocodiles do. He was deep enough in the croc's mouth that he could no longer see his legs. And he said from his hospital bed, I remember I was staring into that animal's evil eyes as it was dragging him under the water. And why is this man still alive? Because this man's wife was off to the side on the shore, saw what was happening on, picked up a large chunk of a tree stump, jumped into the water, and smashed the croc over the head 5 or 6 times. It finally let the guy go and swam away.
Thank you, baby.
Good wife. Yeah, no kidding. I wonder if any woman I've ever spent time with would do that for me.
Seriously,
or if she would use the log to hit me to keep me underwater so the croc could finish me.
Well, it's like let me put you out of your misery, Zep.
Right.
I'm doing this because I love you.
Get back in there. Yeah.
The croc won't like you as much if you're already dead. She just grabbed a big log and took it right to that croc's head.
Awesome.
My man was very seriously injured. He lost a lot of blood, but he's going to recover. Let's see here. I'm reading some of the quotes. When I tried to clean his wounds, I found 3 crocodile teeth still in one of the holes in his stomach.
All right. That's terrifying.
Hello?
However, what a frickin' souvenir you have. Oh, these crocodile teeth, this necklace, you're asking about that? Yeah. Dug out of my stomach from the croc that attacked me.
4 deep wounds, legs and stomach, a number of single tooth wounds. He is very thankful because the crocodile did miss the front office, but not by much. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I just think about the adrenaline of everybody involved once they realize they're out of danger, that the post-adrenaline crush your body goes through. I mean, think about like when you're in a fender bender, how much you're just jacked for like an hour. Imagine, a crocodile trying to pull you in and you're looking him in the eye. That's tough. I'd probably just tap right out.
For some people, it's a religious experience. It's life-altering. You guys remember this story? Guy comes out of a Florida swamp. This is an alligator, not a crocodile. Same deal. Comes out. 3 days he's been in the swamp. At some point, an alligator rips his arm off. He comes out of the swamp 3 days later, naked. They've got a blanket around him, the first responders, when they find him. But right on the scene is the local news team.
The alligator took off with most of my arm. It was about down to my elbow, maybe a little bit more, with the bone poking out. A lot of pain the whole 3 days, screaming at the top of my lungs. There's no way this is real. My arm's gone. Like, I don't have an arm anymore. There's no way. I got to be dreaming or something. I came out of the swamp naked. with one arm. I was reborn for a reason. I believe that is to motivate other people.
There you go.
Well, like they always say, shock is your best friend.
Yeah, right. Good God.
Holy crap. There's a town in western Wisconsin. How is this pronounced, Brian? Chetek. They're in shock right now. This town, this is a small town. I mean, this is not a big city, is my point.
Yeah.
Victim of a wire fraud scheme that resulted temporarily in the loss of $2.6 million. The town's budget, I can't imagine, is a whole lot more than that. This is a small place. Here's what happened. There was an ongoing construction of a wastewater treatment plant. And apparently this all happened at the end of last year. In November, officials became aware they'd been the victim of a scheme. It wired a payment earmarked for the construction project to a, quote, fraudulent actor. So somebody got in there and rerouted the wire. 2.6 mil went to the wrong place. And thankfully, someone picked up on it pretty quickly. They got the FBI involved. They were able to recover the money, but they're still trying to figure out who was in charge of this and who almost took them for a serious payday, 2.6 mil.
Right, that would have been crippling to I think Chetek out there.
If you can figure out how to hack in and get that wire sent to the wrong place, how do you not figure out how to then get that money immediately sent to a numbered bank account in Switzerland? I mean,
right? I mean, it's right, exactly. Shoddy work out there. Thankfully for Chetek, but I'm always pissing and moaning about the cyber training we had to do. I had to do one recently, the phishing scam stuff our company does, but I get it, and this stuff is becoming more and more common. I was reading in the same story that Tattersall Distillery, right in Minneapolis, missed its rent, real estate, taxes, insurance premiums, late fees, and other expenses due to a wire fraud scam. Oof. I mean, it's real, and it's happening not just to dear old grandma, but to everybody. You got to really be on your game.
In 2018, Minneapolis hosted the Super Bowl. Next year, something maybe even a little bigger. The Twin Cities, a finalist for WrestleMania 2025.
Let's go!
Oh, Steve, you are in the land of wrestling, brother. I'm just from South Dakota. But when I got here, it was still to this day, Tony, Candace, right? Back me up on this. Wrestling is king in Minnesota. You were raised on it.
Oh, sure. The Crusher of Ringana, Blackjack Lanza.
Yeah. Yeah, the Baron. The Baron with the claw. I did a golf, one of these golf things, charity events around here. And your foursome is the Baron. He's like a professional wrestler from back in the day. He was retired when I was playing golf with him. And he did the claw for me. By the way, just a delightful gentleman. Not, so much like his wrestling character.
His voice is nothing like that.
Right, no, nothing like that. Uh-huh. And I remember after the whole thing was over, going out to have some beers with some buddies. I was like, "Oh, hey, you guys are from Minnesota. You know the Bear? What? Huh? No. Did you get his autograph? Did you get a picture with him?" I'm like, I really didn't know too much about him. They're like, "Are you out of your mind? You didn't call us?" Yeah, pretty big deal.
It's a huge deal. WWE insider Sean Ross Sapp says Minneapolis is the front runner for WrestleMania 2025. That the Minnesota Sports Facility Authority, they operate the stadium. They've been pushing hard for it. Check this out, Candace. If Minneapolis is confirmed, strong chances that based on current storylines, Roman Reigns will take on The Rock in one of the main events.
What? Oh, my God.
Which is news to me, because I'll just come right out and say it. I didn't know The Rock still wrestled. I just thought he made movies.
Oh.
Wow.
I think they just dust him off, him and Cena, for the big events, right? Like these Super Bowl type wrestling events, I think.
I guess. WrestleMania, I didn't follow. I watched wrestling as a kid. Haystacks Calhoun was a big big winner in the Gorman household. I watched it, and then at some point I just went off the channel and I never looked back. And I can remember I would see it on occasion, like through the late 70s into the 80s, and I just missed out. I was just in a whole different headspace. And I had no idea that it not only still existed, but that it was just growing and growing and growing and growing. And then somewhere like in the mid-90s, all of a sudden, it was like I put on the They Live glasses to see aliens. One day I woke up and I was like, oh, my God, wrestling's huge. Like I had just missed the whole thing. And when I first got here, to your point that Minnesota's all about wrestling, I got here last January, and early on, I'll never forget, Candace said, hey, what, are you doing anything this weekend? No. You want to go see wrestling? I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, First Wrestling. We have a huge wrestling community here, and I probably go once every couple months to one of their events, and they'll probably be involved in that, and it's going to be sweet.
That is going to be sweet.
Just don't date wrestlers. I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I would think they'd have the moves, man.
No, it's
not so much.
It's just a job.
You spent so much time shaving their bodies for them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the body, this it's so big here in Minnesota. We elected one as a governor.
That's exactly
Jesse the Bod.
Of course. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
that says everything, doesn't it?
There it is, right there.
The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office and Freshwater have declared Lake Minnetonka ice out. It's over. Ice out.
I feel like that's late. It's coming a little late.
But this is earlier. Just a couple days. The record is March 11th for the earliest ice out. This is now the second earliest ice out, which is defined as when a boat can move freely through the entire lake without running into hard ice. It's over. Get the boats, get ready, let's rock is what they're trying to tell us.
I wonder if they got that house out of Prior Lake. That was just like a week ago. Somebody sent me a picture. They were down there at Sandpoint Beach, or I think that's the name of it. And there's a picture, and there's just the roof of the ice house sticking out of the water out there.
Shoot.
Yeah.
12 times in 169 years. That's all. Only 12 times has ice out been declared before April 1st. And again, this is the second earliest ever. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office would like to remind you, though, you still have to be very vigilant if you're out on a boat now. Navigational buoys, not all of them are in place yet. Still wear a life jacket because that water is still cold as hell. Yeah. You fall right in, you're going to be cold, baby.
Don't forget your life jacket.
That's it. That's it.
Well, I mean, you got to have them on the boat legally, of course.
Of course.
Life jackets, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's with good reason.
Why don't you wear yours, and if I go in, you can come in and get me.
Is that how we? Is that how that
up
works?
My tan, dude.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, that makes perfect sense to me.
All right.
So we'll keep you posted. WrestleMania possibly next year.
Yeah.
You'll hear Candace's scream from wherever you are.
Hell yeah, brother.
If that comes in. Hell yeah, brother. Going straight to brother.
It'll bring in big money. It'll be bigger than the Big Ten tournament, the ladies that was just in town. It'll be huge bucks.
It will be huge bucks, and so that'll be great for the Twin Cities. It'll be great for the whole state. Some of that money might find itself back into the roads because we take good care of our roads here in Minnesota. So says Consumer Affairs. By the way, if you're just joining us, we have the best roads in the United States. Yes, Minnesota has the number one roads by Consumer Affairs based on three factors: the number of fatal crashes, not that many apparently, road surface roughness, and each state's investment in road improvements. We're putting over $4 billion a year into the roads here and finally getting a pat on the back for it. Thank you, Consumer Affairs.
We'll take the win. I know there's some people out there right now going, are you kidding me? But, we'll take the win. And listen, I love to road trip. I'm a road tripper guy on my vacations, and I'm traveling to and fro. And believe me, the roads get a hell of a lot worse. In South Dakota, I don't even know if they have a budget for roads out there, and you're pretty much on your own out there. There are patches of those county roads, the hard tops or whatever we call them, that aren't even marked up, where you literally leave hard top for a while and are just on some jagged gravel and then back on the hard top, and it's been like that for years. So it could be worse. In fact, it's worse in 49 other states, I guess. How's Wisconsin doing?
Way down towards the bottom. 45th out of 50. Yeah, suck it, Badgers. Speaking of bad roads real quick, that just reminded me. In 1991, I was on the road. The Monsters of Rock tour in Europe was happening, and the final show of that tour was a last-minute edition, was in Moscow. That is in Russia, which at that time was still in the Soviet Union. And so a huge amount of trucks carrying all of the gear for this giant tour were flown from Germany over to Russia for the gig, but they weren't flown back. It was the last tour stop for the whole thing. It was late September, and so the Russians were like, "We'll get you guys here, and then you can drive back." And we were like, "I didn't matter to me. We were going to fly in and fly out." The truckers for the tour, everybody said, "Okay, we play a show in Moscow." They load up the trucks, and then everybody gets these maps, 1991 maps of Russia to drive back to Western Europe. And the trucks are all going all the way back to the UK. That's where the gear originated from. So 3 weeks after we flew out of Moscow, we played a gig in Newcastle, and one of the truck drivers from the tour that we'd been on all summer turns up at our gig, just a Black Crowes gig, not a festival show. The festivals are done. This dude turns up. It's 3 weeks later, and he's like, "Good to see you." We're like, "Hey, man, how's it going? How was the trip home?" He says, "I got home yesterday."
Oh, wow.
And we're like, "You got home from Russia yesterday? It took 3 weeks?" And he told us that he was driving on a highway in Western Russia, and he was just driving along, and he had been given, the promoters or people there gave them all maps and instructions in English, the whole thing. And he said, "I'm driving along, I'm doing 60 miles an hour, and I look up and I'm like, does that look like dirt straight ahead?" And he goes, "The pavement just stopped."
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
No sign, no warning, just the road just ended. And he was hundreds of miles down the wrong road, and it just stopped. He had no idea where the hell he was.
What did he do?
He just slowly backed up, and then eventually someone showed up, and he goes, "It took me forever just to turn the truck around." And then I just went back a few hundred miles and it just took the guy 3 weeks to get what should have been 4 or 5 days.
Amazing.
Oh, man.
It could be worse, I guess. Let's look back. March 14th, 1967, shortly after the first ever Super Bowl, the then two football leagues, the American Football League and the National Football League, for the first time had a common draft. This was one big step towards the eventual merger in 1970. The first player taken in the first common draft, defensive lineman from Michigan State, Bubba Smith. My man. I loved Bubba Smith as a Baltimore Colts fan as a kid. Number one draft pick. He was a big part of at the time, what they called was the greatest college football game ever played in 1966. Michigan State, Notre Dame, 10-10 tie. And everybody lost their mind over it, which goes to show you how far we've come as a nation since.
Yeah. You know what I remember about Bubba Smith?
What's that?
The Miller Lite commercials. Remember when he said, great taste, whatever, less filling?
Yeah.
And also, I like the easy opening can, and he would tear the top of the can off, tear it in half.
Yeah,
cool.
He was awesome.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.